Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cadillac pre-race show. Along with Bob Roll, I'm Craig Hummer. Mark Cavendish may be the fastest man in the world, but I think, Bob, the biggest revelation at this year's tour is the tenacity and speed of American Tyler Farah.
Tyler Farah has been sprinting great throughout the Tour de France. We have a new star of the sprints, and it's great to have. If you have 10 sprint stages, it's been a long time since we've had somebody to commentate about and cheer for in the sprints. Now we have Tyler Farah. You have to go back to Davis Finney's era a long time ago to find the other American field sprinter in the Tour. Davis won 2 stages in the Tour de France. I don't think it's going to be very much longer before Tyler Farah starts winning some of his own.
Tyler came oh so close yesterday, so let's take you to the Wells Fargo highlights from stage number 11. It all started, as most stages do, a somewhat easy day in the Peloton. Lance Armstrong, though, Bob, he'd get a flat and have to be paced back.
Flat tire early in the stage for Lance Armstrong, right on the wheel of Popovich and Gregory Rass. No trouble at all for him to get back into the group. This is the catch. There was a 2-man breakaway throughout the day. They were caught with 5 clicks to go. Team Columbia on the front doing the work before the sprint began.
We have seen this so many times before. A lot of the sprinters' teams helped out to get to that point with 1 kilometer to go. Another team, Milram, would try to disrupt Columbia.
Milram in the mix. They're trying to lead out Gerard Schiolik, but Team Columbia having none of that. Mark Cavendish having to stay on the wheels. Very aggressive sprint to the line.
American George Hincapie at the front. He would hand off to Mark Renshaw, and of course Cav behind Renshaw.
Renshaw leading now with a couple of 100 meters to go. It's a pretty hard hill to the finish line, so not an absolutely 100% normal fast sprint. So the question was, could Cavendish come around Renshaw for the win?
Well, the green of Tor Hushovd would be the first to make the move, and there you see it. Tyler Farah would swing right around Tor. Cavendish, though, the closest straight line. He would use that and his speed to his advantage. Cavendish with another win, but Tyler Farah, he is nipping at his heels.
Tyler Farah as close as anybody's come to Cavendish in the sprint so far this year, but Cavendish all the way. That's his 8th career Tour de France stage win, but Tyler Farah right there, and the consistency is going to pay off eventually for Farah.
Mark Cavendish ties that great record set by Barry Hoban. That is what it would look like from the side, but the overhead here, it looks as though Farah wasn't giving an inch, matching him speed for speed.
Tyler Farah was actually going a little bit faster than Mark Cavendish when we hit the line. We have not seen that yet in the Tour de France until yesterday's stage.
Celebrations all around. Let's go to the Rollustrator right now, Bob, and take us through exactly where they were placed at the finish.
Renshaw leading out, Cavendish on his wheel. Hushovd, he found the right wheel. A big battle for Cavendish's wheel, and Tyler Farah, their 4th wheel. That is a very good place to be with 200 meters to go. Tor Hushovd makes his move to the left of Cavendish, so Cavendish has to decide, where am I going to go? And it depends on where Renshaw he goes. Tyler Farah needs to decide which wheel to follow at this point, because Renshaw pulls off and starts to come back towards the right. Farah, it's pure instinct here. He has nowhere to go on the inside. He has to go on the outside and try to get around Hushovd.
That could have cost him at the end, because watch this acceleration. Cavendish finds daylight. He makes it through, but a much shorter line to the finish. Farah, as you said, Bob, he's already swung wide, but now he's committed.
He's committed now, and he didn't have an inside line, so now is the drag race, and you can see just a little bit of a gap that Cavendish got because of that. And even though Farah was going a bit faster, he couldn't quite catch Cavendish before the line, but he is going to eventually get it right and win a stage.
Garmin slipstring placed Tyler Farah perfectly, but now let's look at this body position, Bob. Cav so low. He is so aerodynamic, isn't he?
This is the flying wedge cutting through the atmosphere like a laser beam of Mark Cavendish. Very low, and to generate power, the other sprinters a little bit higher up. Cavendish much more aerodynamic, and that's the difference between winning and losing by a bike length.
Cavendish wins yet again, and at the end of the day, the yellow jersey would stay on the shoulders of Rinaldo Nocentini. He continues, both he and his team, to do quite well. Those are your Wells Fargo highlights of stage number 11 right now. Let's look at the Hampton Hotel's overall standings. We just mentioned Nocentini in front. Really no change, Bob. The Astana squad right behind him.
Contador, Armstrong, Limeheimer, 2nd through 4th. Bradley Wiggins for Garmin having a great Tour de France in 5th overall.
As is Chicago native Christian Vandevelde in 8th, only a minute 24 back. Andy Schleck is saying he's looking to the Alps. He's in 9th position overall. Defending champ Carlos Sastre still at 2:52 back.
Almost 3 minutes minutes down. That's a little bit discouraging, but Sastre, a real fighter. Evans and Menchov way down in the overall already in the Tour.
A couple more Americans who've been putting in a ton of work, George Hincapie and David Zabriskie. You see Tyler Farah at 163, but his work is always on the sprint days.
And Danny Pate in the race. Watch for him to try to find the early breakaway on today's stage.
Well, we finished today near the home of Charles de Gaulle. The Lorraine Cross was the symbol of Free France, his historic movement.
The 2009 Tour de France pre-race on Versus is presented by Cadillac.
The relationship you have with your car isn't so different from your other relationships. Some burn hot and fast, but don't last very long. Some burn for a while, but don't throw much heat. And some smolder beautifully for a long time.
The award-winning Cadillac CTS sedan. And coming soon, the all-new CTS Sport Wagon.
There are moments in life when there are no limits, no boundaries, no walls. That the rules of gravity just don't apply. Because there is no statute of limitations on greatness.
Well, there is a new man in green. Mark Cavendish reclaims the jersey many think he'll hold on in Paris. Well, yellow, white, and polka dot stay the same. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to our Cadillac pre-race show. It's time to welcome in the two men who are anything but our water boys on set, Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwen. And the reason I say that is we are in Vittel, known for its water, Phil, and that seems fitting because you said you had one of the best showers you've ever seen ever on the Tour de France last night.
You tell them everything, don't you?
Well, yeah, there are no secrets, Phil. No.
Yeah, it was. And as everybody knows, the French cannot make showers or bathrooms. Normally, you're trying to catch the shower zooming out through the door. There's no curtain, so you step out the bathtub and you skid out the door. But this one was perfect, and it had about 8 shower heads. And I could hear Bob Roll next door was enjoying his as well.
Now, rumor is, too, that you're packing a lot of soaps in your suitcase. Did you take the shower heads as well?
Does a man have no privacy on this program?
Did you take the shower heads as well with you?
I have got a problem with the suitcase, I have to admit. I just can't stop stealing pens, soap, and shampoo. And that's the way it is. And it's been that way for 37 years.
I was going to say, it's hard to break old habits, isn't it?
Craig, and this is true, back home, I've never bought a tablet of soap since 1973.
Do you take Paul's all the time? I mean, how do you get all these?
We used to share a room.
Right.
Went on for about 20 years. There was a fight all the time. Who took the soap? Yeah.
More on that later. Well, in all seriousness, you guys over the past couple weeks have talked about there are certain days for breakaways. Perhaps today is one of them. So, Bob, what is one of the key elements of making a successful breakaway?
Well, you can never deny the collective will of the Peloton, and when they want a breakaway to succeed, it doesn't matter how hard the sprinters teams chase. And when the sprinters teams have a number of opportunities in a row, like we've seen in the last few days, a breakaway is inevitable, and I think that's going to happen today.
Yeah, one thing that you really have to look forward to, though, is to see a breakaway of a large number of riders, because when you get to 8, 9, 10 riders in a breakaway, there are a lot of teams represented, so it reduces the number of teams that are actually going to chase behind. So that's a pretty good recipe for success.
Yeah, and by the same token, of course, it's all about the giant game of poker, because that's what the Tour de France is amongst the strong riders. They'll keep the moves a secret, and they'll look at the route, and when they decide it's the day, they put the cards on the table. And that's why the terrain is very, very important, and it's especially important today, and that's why I think Bob might be right. It could be a breakaway today.
Well, speaking of that route then, Paul, take us through today's stage number 12.
Well, by special request, it's actually rather a hot day today, so I'm going to bring the race route in Swahili. Sasa watoto, mimi nataka kuona sisi fundi ya baisikeli natoka hapa Tonnerre kukuja hapa pande ya maji naitwa Vittel. Wenaona ile barabara sio mbaya sana, iko malima kidogo kidogo kuanza kama naisha huko juu. Mimi nafikiri Mark Cavendish nakuja kama mkubwa yetu leo.
Thank you, Paul, and that's by courtesy of all those who enjoyed Paul's last session in Swahili, according to twitter.com. Right, stage 12, the difference between New York City and Atlantic City, almost the same distance as the day between Tonnerre and Vittel. It's the third visit to Vittel, the second finish. The last winner was Jelle Nijdam. We always loved commentating on Jelle Nijdam because of the yellow jersey, didn't we?
And of course, his nickname, let's not forget, was Sneller Jelle, fast Jelle Nijdam. And I don't think Bob will criticise that.
And his dad Henk was pretty good too.
I saw him vanish into the distance when he won that stage in 1990. I was like, phew, that dude is fast.
Well, whether you're delivering the stage map in Swahili, you're a sprinter or a breakaway artist, confidence is key. And speaking of confidence, it's now time to go to our Cadillac Performance Predictions segment, because one man is gaining confidence, it seems, by the hour. It's Bob Roll. Another great day. He now has a 6-point gap on myself and Paul Sherwen. Phil got some points yesterday, so he's at 10. But my gosh, my friend, this is yours with some.
Could take that
Enjoy
into
it.
the Alps, Bob. And we know what'll happen in the Alps because you can't climb.
You're becoming the Mark Cavendish
I
of
can't climb, but I can pick some climbers. Don't worry.
You're doing quite well. Phil gets the first pick though today.
Yeah,
so who's it going to be?
See, this is why you guys are winning, because you get easy picks. Anybody knows Mark Cavendish was going to win yesterday and the day before, but today's a very difficult choice. It really is. So I'll have Mark Cavendish, but it's not necessarily the way it's going to be, because it is a difficult stage there. Third category climb near the end. But I think Mark has got the team organised so well. If it comes within a smell of the victory, Mark will again be led to victory. And don't forget, today, if he wins, that is an outright record of British stage wins in the Tour.
All right, well, my rationale is similar to yours, but of course you had the first pick. So with the second pick, the man who's proved time and time again that he is the second fastest man here is American Tyler Farah. I mean, this guy is ever so close. Why wouldn't I take Captain America? I'm not only hoping today's the day that he breaks through, but if not, second place is better than I've done the past few days. So Paul, third pick today. Are we going to get the true Paul Sherwen pick today?
No, this is completely and utterly serious today. This is my pick. And again, I'm going for Viva España, and I am going for Oscar Freire, because Oscar Freire can win in the sprint today. But
It says Rojas here.
No, that's Oscar Freire. Look at him, the orange jersey of Rabobank. But you know, he can also win in the sprint or a breakaway situation. That's why I'm going to take Oscar Freire here this afternoon, because he's going to get in the breakaway, get caught towards the end, and he's going to win the sprint as well. So that'll bring me 4 points back into the race. Not a problem at all.
Best of luck.
Are you going with the protect my point lead strategy, or are you going for just wisdom beyond belief?
No, I've already used up all of my bonus points picking Luis Leon Sanchez and having him actually find the breakaway and then win the stage. So I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go with Tor Hushovd in the outright chance that it does come back together and there is a field sprint. I think Tor, he's the only guy that's won a sprint stage except for Mark Cavendish. So I don't think it's going to come back together. It's going to be a breakaway, in which case we'd all be wrong and get no points. Anyways, I'm keeping this jersey for another couple days no matter what, so I'm happy.
Good lead, big lead.
That's true.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we're all secure in our picks. There's going to be no judges review
Can I take Pozzato now? Can I switch?
Sure.
Just kidding. Only kidding.
Sure. Take Pozzato. Well,
Do you want to know the truth?
yes.
We're not going to win a single point today.
All right. Well, there's one opinion. I
Yeah.
hope you're wrong. I'd like some points.
I'd like some points. I need to get off the bottom here. I've been on the bottom for nearly 2 years.
Good thing you can hold your breath. Well, we're going to find out soon enough which one of us is correct. As I mentioned, Vittel's known for the water by the same name. It's also where many of France's Olympic teams train. So who'll be our gold medalist today?
The 2009 Tour de France pre-race on Versus is presented by Cadillac.
I I gotta get my car insured. Just point and click, point and click, point and click, point and click.
When you need auto insurance right now, log on to thegeneral.com. You'll get an instant quote with no personal information required and a down payment as low as $59. You can also print your own proof of insurance form, all online in just a few minutes.
Piece of cake.
Best car insurance rates in town. Call 1-800-GENERAL now.
The hotter the hot, the colder the cold, the greater the demand, the more you need Duralast. Batteries built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
My mom mentioned eHarmony, and I just didn't take myself as a guy who really needed the internet. And then I kind of changed my ideas where it wasn't necessarily to get a date, it was to meet the right person.
Log on and review your matches for free. eHarmony.com.
My name is Derek Berge. I'm in Los Angeles, getting honked at.
Quaker State wants to know who has the world's worst commute.
74 miles, 4 hours. I have a sweaty, wet back, and it's 110 degrees. Speed limit, 65. Me, 5. My engine, not happy.
A tough commute is tough on your engine, so get an oil that goes way beyond industry standards. Quaker State bonds to metal surfaces for 2 times better wear protection. Quaker State, real, durable.
I think it was the Sunday styles that brought us together.
I think it was the weekend review. Getting the times delivered for me, well, that's really the best part of the weekend. That's why I love the Weekender.
It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday subscription that puts you in the center of the conversation.
So you call the 800 number and you save 50%.
50% off home delivery? Fantastic.
The best journalists in the world work for the Times, and there's no debating that.
So call now. Get the conversation going.
Get the Weekender for as low as $5.20 a week. Call 1-800-832-3658 and be part of a great conversation.
It's the symbol of superiority for which they all fight. But every tournament only has one champion. 2009 will take a select few to legendary heights and bring others to their knees. But they continue the fight with some fresh faces entering the fray. Because it's what they know. It's what they do best. Watch the Champions Tour all season long on Golf Channel.
And now Cavendish is launched. The missile fires either for all, will ride in his slipstream. Cavendish is going to get his first win of 2009. Cavendish is going to have to fight. I watch Farrar on the right. The top sprinters have gone shoulder to shoulder. Tyler Farrar is going after Cavendish, but this little man with the big heart and the big legs has just made it 4 in a row.
It's fine. It's a sprint. It's a finish. It's not like finishing up Mont Ventoux, you know?
It's frustrating. It's always been second, but at the same time, I think you see that, you know, there's only a few guys who are going that fast right now.
Yes, today the undisputed fastest man on 2 wheels, the Manx missile, Mark Cavendish, looks to extend his dominance on this race in the sprints. His closest rival, the American Tyler Farrar, is on the verge of upsetting the race's latest phenomenon. It's an all-out battle for sprint supremacy. Ring the bell for another round, next on Versus. Skies again above the Tour de France. They've covered 1,000 miles since leaving Monaco a week and a half ago. They're now in an area they don't come to very often. They're racing between Tonnerre and Vittel as we journey east towards the German borders. 131 miles today. That's the finishing line. A reasonably undulating course, but it might be a sprinter at the finish. Hi everybody, welcome back to our live coverage here on Versus. Phil Liggett. Alongside me is Paul Sherwen. He rode the Tour de France 7 times, so he knows how to ride it. Many of you are asking, why aren't we talking so much about Lance Armstrong, Alberto Contador, Andy Schleck, likely winners of this Tour by the time we get to Paris a week on Sunday? And the answer is they are waiting for the Alps, and they're not far away now. So we probably will today continue to talk about the sprinters, and this year the Tour de France has the two fastest men, I think, in Mark Cavendish and Tyler Farrar.
Yes, those two riders are going head-to-head every time we come down to a sprint finish, and I think one day or another the American sprinter Tyler Farrar, Phil, is going to get his wheel across the line in first place ahead of Cavendish.
Well, yesterday Mark Cavendish is the man who got his 4th stage win in the Tour de France, and an additional prize this time because he pulled on the green jersey again as leader of this competition on points. First created in 1953, he took the lead away from Thor Hushovd yesterday. 176 plays 169 there now. Rojas and Tyler Farrar, they are locked on 110. 100 for Gerald Cholik. This is how you score it.
Yes, there are a few points available at the intermediate sprint points at 32, 90 and 169 kilometres. So far, only Thor Hushovd has gone out for those, but now that Mark Cavendish, Phil, has the overall lead in this green race, I wonder if he'll try and get a few more points and build a lead there. However, the big points are on the finish line. 35 points for the first man to cross the line, 30 for second, 26 for third, and of course if you cross the line inside of the top 25 you can still walk away with a single point.
Well, the ride is now 100 kilometres down the road, but let's start with our Nature Valley stage reset and go back to the start a couple of hours ago. Green jersey on the shoulders of Mark Cavendish as they ride away here from the start in Tonnerre. Kilometre 0 as the flag is waved by the race director Christian Prudhomme. Riders staying together for quite a long time today before they finally started to break clear. Lance Armstrong just catching up at the rear of the field, looking extremely relaxed. First climb coming 19 kilometres into the race, and the score here for Garmin Slipstream. David Miller going over ahead of Daniele Bernati and Franco Pelazzotti. And the first sprint much more significant, Paul, because Cavendish has decided he's going for the sprints on the road now as well.
Well, I think he had to, because he was just waiting to see whether there would be any reaction from Thor Hushovd, and as soon as he saw Thor Hushovd move, bang, he came out of the pack to get himself 6 points. Hushovd 4, Sandy Cassar 2.
So he's increased his lead by 2 points in that competition. On to the next climb. This is also coming at 55 kilometres in. Franco Pelazzotti here taking maximum ahead of the King of the Mountains leader Igor Martinez. So Pelazzotti is now 2nd overall in the competition and closing in on Igor Martinez.
Breakaway starting to form off the front end of the main field. Going through the next sprint point, it was Calzati getting himself maximum points there ahead of Pelazzotti and Igor Martinez.
And at this point, a 7-man breakaway is clear and the gap is starting to build. They took a long time to get a break. That's our Nature Valley stage reset, so we can now go down and have a look across the beautiful open fields here, the farmland. Remember, all of these pictures are now available in high definition from the Tour de France, so please check your listings. Hot day today, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, very light wind blowing from the southeast today. The riders won't worry overly about that. Slight crosswind, we're going due east more or less all day apart from near the end. It's been a tough day for some riders because Angelo Furlan has abandoned today. That's reduced the field, and just moments ago Jerome Coppel in his first tour, he also has given up. So the answer is 167 riders left of the 180, and half of the teams are still intact. We've wired up 3 riders, Chris Anker Sorensen, Brian Van Borg and Brice Feliu, to check out the pulses during the day of racing. Now we're closing on the peloton, and look at this, Paul, a chat here between Mark Cavendish and Lance Armstrong. Mark has said he doesn't have heroes in the sport of cycling, but when he heard Lance was coming back, he said it'd be kind of cool to ride alongside such a great person in the sport.
Well, if you wind the tape back, Phil, about a week, the first person to congratulate Mark Cavendish when he got his victory on the first road stage was in fact Lance Armstrong, and I think he appreciates how fast and how talented the young rider is from the Isle of Man.
Well, this is the breakaway. Nicky Sorensen with the most again, 10 minutes behind this morning. Igor Martinez in the polka dot jersey of King of the Mountains. Franco Pelazzotti looking for him. Of the other riders, Laurent Lefebvre, a Frenchman, Sylvain Calzati, Marcus Fulton rather, Remy Poriol are the riders that complete this 7-rider break. They got cleared at 78 kilometers covered, and now they're getting themselves a nice little advantage over the field. I don't think it'll be allowed to run too far. 3 minutes 13 it is currently. 107 kilometers into the race. Remember, today is 211, so plenty of time. This is the Charles de Gaulle new memorial here, Paul.
Actually, this is the Lorraine Cross, and it was adopted to represent the Dukes of Anjou and the Dukes of Lorraine, and it was adopted as the symbol of Free France, and that was a proposal by the Vice Admiral Émile Muselier, and General de Gaulle actually adopted this to try and battle the use of the swastika, which was the symbol of the Nazis.
Stands out in a famous part of France here. Often changes places with Germany in the years gone by. 28.4 miles an hour, 45 kilometers. They've got to move on today. We did 48 kilometers in the opening hour, 46 in the second hour of racing, so a well up on expected time of arrival. Franco Pellisotti in the breakaway has closed in on the leader, Igor Martinez, on these small hills before we go to the bigger hills tomorrow and the real big ones by Sunday in the Alps. So, all settling down now for another day in the saddle on the Tour de France. This is stage 12, remember, and we're bound today for Vittel.
Kelly Saunders Nature Valley. The place that inspires her to go faster and slower. Elk Mountains, Colorado. Where's yours? 100% natural Nature Valley granola bars. The taste nature intended.
Geico's been saving people money on car insurance for over 70 years. And who doesn't want value for their dollar? Been true since the day I made my first dollar. Where is that dollar? I got it out to show you.
Was it rather old and wrinkly?
Yeah, you saw it?
Fancy a crisp?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hamels looks toward home. The pitch. He walks him.
Come on, Cole. Keep pounding the corner. Give him a chase one outside. Who are you?
Oh, Dad.
Oh, no. Wearing the same cap the pros wear doesn't mean you're one. New era. Make the majors or buy one at the store.
Think you've seen it all? Think again. Watchmen Director's Cut Special Edition DVD, packed with 24 minutes of new footage.
Who murdered Hollis Mason?
It's The Watchmen you didn't see in theaters. By the Director's Cut on Blu-ray and DVD.
Nanomolecular what? A force field that prevents sludge.
Tired of the claims? Get a guarantee. Only Valvoline guarantees your engine up to 300,000 miles. Get Valvoline. Get guaranteed.
One thing about this race is that you're hitting the most extreme conditions you ever hit in a race.
I can't even describe how bad it is. It is the roughest road you could ever imagine riding a bike over.
The bikes are unbelievable. I don't know how I raced through Roubaix before without it.
We think it's nice to have stock bikes in the races so people can see how good those bikes really are.
Exceptional. They've surprised me again.
The 2009 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Cervelo. Enjoy engineering.
Welcome back. 211 kilometres on the menu today for the riders. They've covered just on half the distance today, and 7 riders have got themselves clear with a lead of just over 3.5 minutes. Good breakaway. Nicky Sorensen, Igor Martinez, Franco Pelazzotti, Rémi Poriol on 4 of the riders. The rest are Laurent Lefebvre, Sylvain Calzati and Markus Foten from Germany. And this is Markus Foten here now setting the pace at the front. Beautiful day here as we race now through the area of the Yonne into the Aube. Heading up towards the feed zone now, Paul, which to the riders always signifies more or less the halfway point of the day. This is a very, very experienced breakaway. These 7 riders between them have ridden 37 Tours de France, many as I've seen.
Yeah, it's a very good composition too, because some of the big teams are represented, and it may well for once smile on a breakaway succeeding. We've had a lot of the breakaways chased down over the last couple of days. Tomorrow is not likely to be a day for the breakaways because there's some very big mountains, so this is the last chance for some of the teams to get themselves a crack at a stage victory.
Still to come is a 4th category climb, a couple of climbs in fact, and a sprint, and then we go over a 3rd category climb which might make the difference towards the end. Let's see if they can get away though, because they need at least 5 or 6 minutes today at least to have any chance of staying clear.
Well, the team of the yellow jersey, Phil, their job at the moment really is to try and protect the yellow jersey, and that's why you can see them all lining up on the front end of the main field. The first guy rides into the wind as he is doing and creates a little bit of a breaking of the wind, allowing the guy behind him to save up to 30%. They will take turns setting the pace at the front end of the main field, with the rider in the yellow jersey being the rider at the back of that line. Again, trying to recuperate. It is difficult to recuperate at 45 kilometers an hour, but you really can save an awful lot of energy if you can ride in the slipstream of one of your teammates.
Well, the wind today is nothing to write home about. It is about 12 miles an hour, 20 kilometers an hour. It's blowing in from the southeast, and we're riding east today, so we'll catch a bit of a crosswind occasionally, but there's really nothing to worry about in the wind. We've had a very nice sunshine tour apart from the heavy rain in Barcelona. It's been a beautiful race so far. Stage 12 today, and tomorrow, as Paul said, we go down into the Vosges Mountains tomorrow, and they are quite hard. They're not as high as the Alps, but they're quite hard. A lot of riders are worried about the stage tomorrow. They must stay very sharp and vigilant. Escapes down there have gone up to half an hour ahead, and Lance Armstrong knows all about chasing down breakaways. Took him 2 weeks once to bring it all back to heel.
Yes, and there he is as we talk about him, wearing number 22, not given the 1 slot as a team leader, chatting there on the right-hand side to number 51, and that is the leader of Team Garmin Slipstream, Christian van der Velde, involved in a pretty nasty accident yesterday. In fact, I suppose, Phil, we'd have to say a rather bizarre accident, because after 26 kilometers of yesterday's stage, one of the inflatable banners over the race route actually deflated and came down into the road and caused a crash involving around about 20 riders and completely and utterly blocking the race route. And in fact, quite rarely the race organization sent a message out to the team managers asking them to sort of neutralize the race as it happened on the road, so that all the riders involved in that massive accident could get back into the race, and they respected that, and the race pretty much restarted after a couple of kilometers.
2 of those riders were Cadel Evans and Mark Renshaw, the Australian, so very unusual they've neutralized the race, but I think as the organizers felt it was probably their fault, even though it wasn't directly. They thought they would try and ask the directors to cause a neutralization. I guess that was a good reason that they had the radios in their ears, otherwise they may have raced on. And by the way, the hot news on the radios is that the second race radio day has now been called off. They've decided to take it back to the UCI, look at it again, and as far as the tour is concerned this year, they can keep the radios on for the rest of the tour.
I was actually just thinking about that, Phil, before we came up to the commentary position. Instead of stopping the athletes themselves from having race radios, it might not be a bad idea for the race referees to give out a little bit less information, and therefore that would make it a little bit more difficult to try and read the race and define the tactics.
Well, you might have a problem then knowing what's going on.
Well, we always know what's going on.
Or maybe it should only be the race who should talk to the riders as well, and then they would only get information they want them to know, like the problems with safety on the highway. Going well well today, this breakaway. It's been a very snappy race and perfect conditions for racing. Now, let me remind you then, don't forget to log on to versus.com/ride of your life every day during the Tour de France. Chance to win a trip to the Tour next year. And also a Cervelo S2 bicycle. Perhaps a yellow jersey or a polka dot jersey like we use in the Cadillac Performance Predictions, all signed by us. Today's code word there you saw, and you're bound to know that one, Bob Key. That's what you need to log on. 7 riders finally shuffled the pack and got rid of them because we had a number of attacks. They wouldn't allow anybody to leave today. They chased just about everything down. At one stage, Cadell Evans himself attacked along with Andy Schleck and Levi Leipheimer, so they never got very far before they were also put back in their place. Very nice shot of the peloton there as the helicopter goes low here over the wheat fields. The yellow jersey of the Tour surrounded by his rivals. The black jerseys are cased upon. It's going to be an interesting day's racing, I think, today. A couple of climbs are still to come of note. These two are just having a friendly chat. They're always friendly at this stage of the Tour de France. We'll see you in a moment.
Here's Ryan getting ready to make his approach to the men's room.
Looks like he needs to go urgently.
True. And there's Casey about to drive, also to the men's room.
He has been going over and over.
They ought to see their doctors.
Could be male urinary symptoms due to BPH and enlarged prostate.
For many guys, prescription Flomax reduces their urinary symptoms due to BPH in 1 week.
And if their doctors do prescribe Flomax, they could get up to $40 off new or refilled prescriptions.
So guys already on Flomax can also save. Only your doctor can tell if you have BPH, not a more serious condition like prostate cancer.
Avoid driving or hazardous tasks for 12 hours after your first dose or increase in dose, as a sudden drop in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting.
If considering cataract surgery, tell your eye surgeon you've taken Flomax. Common side effects are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen.
Ask your doctor if Flomax is right for you.
And call 877-4FLOMAX for more information and to see if you qualify for up to $40 off new or refill prescriptions.
For many men, Flomax can make a difference in 1 week.
The Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep Summer Clearance is here, and it's the best time to get some of the best deals. Get in now and get the Chrysler Town & Country with a generous cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. The trail-rated Jeep Grand Cherokee also comes with a cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose a hard-working all-new Dodge Ram truck with a cash allowance that's tough to beat. All with our best-in-the-business lifetime powertrain warranty. So hurry, come see the deals we've built for you at the Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep Summer Clearance.
If you're looking for a better job this year, here is something to consider. A career as a medical assistant is the single fastest growing job in the United States, expected to grow nearly 60% in the next 10 years. That means opportunity for you. Pick up the phone and soon you'll be training for a job that puts you in demand. A career as a medical assistant is a career that makes a difference. Get the training you need to land a great job in the rapidly growing medical field.
Call Anthem College today at 1-800-698-1809. Your new career could be a phone call away.
The latest Turtle Wax breakthrough in car polish is Clear. Crystal Clear Turtle Wax Ice, a clarified synthetic carnauba that performs like no other polish or wax. Ice leaves no white residue on trim or in seams.
I had no residue whatsoever. It was perfect.
Clear and deep, really brings out the shine.
Ice is so advanced, you can use it in the hot sun with outstanding results. Now, your choice is clear. Crystal Clear Ice from Turtle Wax, world leader through innovation.
7 races left, and they're all on Versus. The fastest drivers on the planet are on the final laps to the championship when IndyCar returns to Versus. Sunday, July 26th at 5.
Welcome back to the Tour de France. These are the races you must not miss here with Bicycle Magazine stages. Visit bicycling.com, exclusive tour commentary, analysis, interactive stage maps, and much more. We're talking about stage 17, Bourg Saint-Maurice to Le Grand Bornand. We are in the Alps. Special extended coverage coming to you 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that will be next Wednesday here on Versus. That'll be certainly a day to watch out for. It could be a key stage in this year's Tour de France. Today, we are just in the undulations of the area of the Vosges. We're in the Haute-Marne area now. We'll finish in the Vosges mountainous area towards the end. 7 riders are still clear, and there's all the names for you. The highest placed Nicky Sorensen, 10 minutes 36 seconds away from the yellow jersey of Ronaldo Nocentini. So they won't panic just yet, but there's still a fair way to go, some 98 kilometres still to ride. They've got the biggest lead so far, just over 4 minutes.
It was really, nowadays, by the way, it's a private residence.
Very nice too. Clearly still the economy not breaking the bank here in France just yet. Well, we didn't see it, but we actually went through the summer residence in Colombey-les-Deux-Églises of Charles de Gaulle. And that was where he actually wrote the last pages of his war memoirs. And I'm sorry we didn't see it, because Charles de Gaulle actually greeted the riders in the Tour de France in 1960. The race leader then, by the way, was the Italian Gaston Nencini.
I mean, Phil, although they're losing time on the 7 leaders, Phil, you can see they're still pretty much stretched out in a long line. And for AG2R, it's important for them to keep the pressure on and ride at the front and assume the mantle of leadership, because every day that they keep their man in the yellow jersey, it keeps them in with a bonus. It gives them added publicity from wearing the yellow jersey, and plenty of points and lots of money, because actually there is a rent or a prize, a daily prize for the rider who is first place in the overall classification. And as far as they're concerned, they keep adding money into the bank.
This is Christophe Moreau there. The tree's just causing our cameras to lock up a little bit. This is the biggest gap they've had since they went at 78 kilometres into the race. And just come into the feeding station here at Juzencourt, taking on their little bags of goodies.
You might just notice the seasoned professional riders moving to the front there. Jens Voigt was very quick to come to the front end of the pack to take on board his bag. So too is Christophe Moreau in the blue jersey of Team Agri Toubel. This is always a very dangerous point, even if the main field goes through quite slowly, because lots of riders panic at the last moment, and they make incredible zigzag maneuvers through the pack trying to get a hold of their race bag. And when that happens, if you're not paying attention, we very often see silly crashes which can be dangerous ones.
A few little private goodies in the bag there, apart from a drink, which they'll find a bottle in there, which they'll change with the one on the bikes. They'll also have a few favorite rolls, maybe just a cheese sandwich or a ham roll, and some energy gels as well. Something that tastes nice, because of course the old tummy gets a little bit upset with all the fancy foods they have to put down for energy.
And that's the most important part. In the first part of the race, you try and eat something that's reasonably solid to psychologically have that little weight in your stomach. But after that, the most important thing, Phil, is to have high energy foods. And as you mentioned, nowadays there are an awful lot of gels on the market which these riders take on board, and that gives them a lot of calories. We look on average on a flat stage like this to riders burning up to 5,000 calories in one day, but on the big mountain stage they can burn as much as 7,000 calories. And I have to tell you, that's an awful lot of eating.
It is indeed. There is Pelazzotti there riding no-handed, taking out his food, which he took on a little bit earlier now, about 5 minutes ago in fact, because they're beginning to move clear of the field, these riders, as they continue into the many villages which abound here. I think this is Jean Chéry, but it's in fact Blazy that we're going into now. This is has a 19th century church of Saint-Martin, which you might see flash under the camera lens there.
And the department number of the town we're going through here is number 52, and each region of France has a different number attached to it. So this number 52 is the department region of the Haute-Marne. And a lot of people, a lot of the kids, when they go on holiday in France here, Phil, actually they have a little game and they look at the number on the car registration plates to try and knock off all of the registration departments that they see, although there are one or two that you can never see, because you have those ones which are the Outre-mer, places like, of course, Guadeloupe, Reunion Island and Nouvelle Caledonia.
Now let's have a look what's happening with the team cars. They're riding close today to the breakaway, but he wants to actually probably speak with the Cofidis rider in the breakaway. As the riders go through here, the only guy who's won a stage of the Tour de France is Sylvain Calzati of Team Agri Toubel. He won at Saint-Maine-le-Grand in 2006. So as we're looking at the riders, during this year's Tour, Versus brings you Bob Rolls' motion comic Adventures from the Epic Cycle. The action unfolds exclusively on Versus.com, Versus on demand. And here's a quick look now at episode 5, which featuring the Tour greats.
legends. Jacques Anquetil, the first 5-time Tour winner. Eddie Merckx, the Cannibal. Bernard Hinault, the Badger. Miguel Indurain, Big Mig. And Lance Armstrong. Will he make history once again, or will a new legend emerge?
Yes, indeed, and that is a very interesting series. So don't forget, you go to Versus.com, Versus On Demand, and enjoy the full series of the adventures from the epic cycle. Peloton, the Tour de France, then, coursing through beautiful, stunning countryside, but they do that every day, really, don't they? As the Peloton being led here by Team AG2R, they're all of the teammates of the yellow jersey, Rinaldo Nocentini. Nobody worried yet about the breakaway, but they will be soon. They're pulling clear. We'll take a break.
To send an expert.
A walking, talking, know-it-all.
Expert. A guru. How about Wu? Wu will do.
Where to?
First stop, Peru.
Then send Wu to Kathmandu.
What's next?
Timbuktu.
And area code 212. So Timbuktu, Kathmandu, Peru in 212?
All by 2:30.
Not a problem.
Need an expert? Push a button. That's the human network effect. Learn more at cisco.com/newways.
During the Autobahn for All event, you can get great lease deals. I love it. I just want to know it's the right move. Me? 13 days in the future. Listen, you get a deal on a car you've always wanted, scheduled maintenance is included, it's all good. What's the future like? You love your new Jetta. And the suit? You like it? No, I love it.
Now during the Autobahn for All event, lease a 2009 Jetta S for just $179 a month. Hurry in before your future Volkswagen is history.
I really was looking for something that would be real, and that's why I chose eHarmony, because it's much deeper.
Only eHarmony finds you deep, meaningful matches based on 29 proven dimensions of compatibility.
I never would have met Tara without eHarmony. She's incredibly intelligent. She has a smile that lights up a room. I don't know how I could love her any more than I do right now, but tomorrow I'm going to love her more.
Get started at eHarmony.com today and review all your matches for free.
This is Testosterone Theater on Versus, and this is August. Sweaty, steamy August. Awesome sports flicks August. With Van Damme. Hiya. How'd he do that? Hiya. Oh, no, he can't see. And Sunday Aggression with Mick Screamy. And Miss Steamy. Yeah. Go back to the minors with Men in Lingerie. Makes you uncomfortable. Watch it anyway. It's Man Golf with Costner and Cheech. Hey. Swing in water, swing after swing. Why won't Cheech stop him? Watch it all on Testosterone Theater on Versus. Hey.
Jeffrey, it's after midnight. What are you doing?
I'm buying car insurance.
Right now?
Yep. I just logged on to thegeneral.com.
At The General, you can get an instant online quote that includes a low rate, low monthly payment, and a down payment as low as $59, even if you have tickets or an accident on your record.
Okay, all done.
Great. Bring me some cheese puffs.
Best car insurance rates in town. Call 1-800-GENERAL now.
Get this, free next day delivery on major appliances at Lowe's.
So if I were to get this on Tuesday, you could deliver it...
Wednesday.
Friday?
Saturday.
Thursday.
Friday.
How about Monday?
Yeah, that's not a day, sir.
No, it's not.
Come to Lowe's first for appliances.
Why are you in my yard?
Why are you in your yard? There's all sorts of super destinations. You could go to a jazz festival, stock car racing, ride a donkey in a canyon. You just gotta go. I got free Wi-Fi.
Well, welcome back to Tour de France Stage 12, heading to Vittel here, one of the sponsors of the Tour with its water, by the way, 131 miles. The riders are now over half distance on today's stage. There are the 7 leaders, running approximately 1 minute ahead of the fastest expected arrival time today. There was a very fast race. Nobody could break away for 78 kilometers. And finally, these boys got away. 7 of them clear. And between them, they've ridden 37 Tours de France. So the experience is up the road today. It might put a different face on the race. Well, if we are expecting a spin finish, we all know who will be involved. Mark Cavendish, Tyler Ferrer, and of course Thor Hushovd. So here's Frankie Andreu at the start this morning. He grabbed a quick word with Thor Hushovd.
Cavendish has mentioned that the green jersey is really not that important to him. Do you believe that?
No, of course not.
Today, Cervello, do you have the freedom to be able to, your team to be able to get into a break, or will you ride for the field sprint?
No, we are free today. The guys can go in the breaks if they want, so we just see what happens, and we would like to be in a break.
All right, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
That was our Cisco Insider there. Well, it hasn't quite worked out so far, Tour, because there's no Cervello rider in the break of 7 riders who finally got clear today. But we did see Tour cross swords with Mark Cavendish in that green point sprint earlier. Chance to look at the yellow jersey. Not exactly a great charismatic character, is he, Paul? He's very quiet. Nocentini.
He is, but he's a rider who's been around for a long time. The first time I saw him was at the World Championships in Lugano in 1998, when the Italian Squadra Azzurri, the blue squadron of Italy as they're known, finished first, second and third in the under-23 world title, and he in fact took the silver medal. But since then he's had a fairly solid career, Phil, and I think we saw him ride extremely well when he was representing Team Mapei in the Tour de Langkawi. He won himself 2 stages on one occasion. And I think a lot of people, I was talking to Rolf Sorensen, a former wearer of the yellow jersey as well, who lives not too far away from Nocentini in Italy, and he said the kind of climbs that we will go over tomorrow should be okay for this man Nocentini, and he should be able to survive pretty much all the way to the slopes of the finish in Verbier.
Well, I think he might well do. The finish in Verbier in Switzerland comes on Sunday. It is a climb up to the line. I'm not too sure it'd be hard enough for the riders to put in serious moves, and he just might have a chance of taking it through the first day in the Alps. Next Monday is another rest day in the Tour, and then Tuesday we're into the heavy stuff, which will take us down to the weekend and the climb of Mont Ventoux, and then the Sunday up to Paris. A lot of racing still to come in this Tour de France, that is for sure.
Well, in fact, going back to my discussion with Rolf Sorensen, he reckoned, Phil, that the first day of the Alps up to Verbier, the main contenders really do need to go out and attack it, including Armstrong and Contador, and of course Andy Schleck, because they've got sitting in 5th position at Bradley Wiggins, who's an extremely good individual time trialist. Now, they don't know how Wiggins is going to handle the mountains. Now, if he gets over the Alps without any challenges, he will be a serious contender with that very long time trial around Annecy at 40 kilometers. And a little bit like Christian van der Velde last year, when nobody knew how van der Velde was going to perform, I would say they've probably got a question mark alongside the name of Bradley Wiggins as well, because nobody has ever seen him ride quite as well as he did in this Pyrenean passes.
Absolutely right. Wiggins has been a sensation this year on the Garmin Slipstream team. 3 times a gold medalist at the Olympics on the track, but he's now converted all of his ability to riding the road. He sits in 5th place overall just now.
Not physically, but also mentally, Phil. He's switched his mind across from being a track rider. Said, look, I've achieved everything I can achieve on the track with 3 Olympic gold medals, with world championships. And now all of a sudden, I think he wants to see whether or not he can get to the top end of this discipline of the sport.
89 kilometers to ride, 4:04 and holding right now. The peloton going slightly downhill, so they're a little bit higgledy-piggledy down there, but they're stalking the 7 leaders. We'll take another break. Rejoin us. Plenty of racing to come.
Dude, you have a hammer in your head.
We need to get you to the hospital, dude.
Dude, it's Thursday.
Big Block Thursday on Speed. 3 big hours of races, chases, and crashes. Experience the drag racing phenomenon. Pink's All Out at 8. Then hunt down stolen cars on Jacked at 9. And live life in the crash lane with Wrecked at 10. Got plans Thursday night? You do now. Big Block Thursday. Premieres tonight at 8 Eastern. Only on Speed.
Oh, no. Oh.
Buckle up, everybody, because we're taking a ride that can strain your relationships and hurt your pride. It's the credit roller coaster, and as you can see, it kind of bites. So sing the lyrics with me. When your deck goes up, your score goes down. When you pay a little off, it goes the other way round. It's just the same for everybody, every boy and girl. The credit roller coaster makes you want to hurl. So throw your hands in the air and wave them around like a wannabe frat boy trying to get down and bring them right back to where your laptop's at. Log on to freecreditreport.com. Free credit score and report with enrollment and triple advantage.
America's favorite employment website now has a whole new way for you to search for local jobs, and it's all right on your TV. Introducing Monster on Demand. Browse by category and get all the details you need just by clicking your remote. Plus, if you've got Comcast digital cable, it's free to watch. Try it right now. Just press 888 on your remote and select Jobs by Monster. That's 888 and Jobs by Monster. Monster on Demand, now in Searchlight.
Due to our successful TV and radio campaigns, America's largest manufacturer of steel buildings is offering huge savings on select models.
My husband wanted a building where he could store all of his valuable belongings. Well, I wanted something that would look great on our property. We both found what we wanted at U.S. Buildings.
They're durable, long-lasting, even fire-resistant.
Thanks to their easy-to-read step-by-step construction manual and excellent customer support, our building was constructed in 1 weekend.
These specials won't last long. Buy now and save. Call U.S. Buildings today.
At the World Championships, it's not about wrapping yourself in newfound glory. It's about wrapping yourself in old glory.
Welcome back. Well, tomorrow we go back into the hills because we're heading deep into the Vosges Mountains. 2 first category climbs there. It could be a very different day of racing. And look at the number, stage 13. Comes to you live, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It go onwards from Vittel to Colmar. Once we get down into the Alps, stage 16 takes us from Martigny to Bourg-Saint-Maurice. That comes to you live next Tuesday at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Big stages to watch out for there in the Tour de France. The riders know it, believe me, as we continue today on a fairly flattish stage, although there is a nasty climb coming 40 kilometres from the finish. Short and sharp, very sharp, about 20% slopes on it, and then we'll be running down to the finish in Vittel. But these boys aren't being given the run they need here. 3:57 now is the gap, and I think they need more than that if they're going to stay away to the end. With riders like Franco Pelazzotti in there, finishing second, remember, when we came out of the Pyrenees, to Pierrick Fedrigo, and Igor Martinez, who took his lead in the King of the Mountains in the Pyrenees. Some strong riders in that breakaway. This is Team AG2R, the teammate of race leader Ronaldo Nocentini, just keeping him where he wants. You see our little jerseys down there indicates the polka dot is ahead in the breakaway. All of the others are in the main field, including Lance Armstrong's blue jersey there. Yep, looking down there, the beautiful viaduct here at the moment. Well, that is certainly a beautiful structure here at the moment, as we'll see plenty of these, I think, on the way through to the Vosges. We're still in the department here of the Haute-Marne. Anyway, as we look at that, it's an aqueduct, by the way. Let's, what drives your inspiration? Let's look now at what drives your inspiration. It's presented by Honda Insight, and we're talking of the 2 American teams, Garmin and Columbia.
You know, my personal motivation runs to seeing people improve themselves. You know, I got chances as a young manager. People believed in me, and they gave me chances to show what I could do. And I learned and grew from that. I like to bring that forward now into our team.
I actually really wanted to just help, you know, young riders out, and was having a lot of fun doing that. You know, little by little, it just kind of grew around me, and I had to grow with the program. It's a lot of work, but at the same point in time, you know, really gratifying.
I think what most of the management teams enjoy is seeing people come in here and improve themselves, be it a young athlete or a more experienced athlete.
What drives your inspiration, presented there by the Honda Insight. I have to say that both Jonathan and Bob should be very proud of their achievements with those 2 American teams. Yes, they're great sporting rivals, but they're both heading in the same direction, which is to the top of the sport. Now we're looking at the Chaumont Viaduct, which is a commanding site here in the Suisse Valley. It's a tributary of the Marne. It's 50 meters in height. Well, the sun coming from the right shoulders of the riders now, as it sets in the west. A good idea to tell you that we're heading more or less east today. And the field, Paul, all pretty much together. I can see a lot of jerseys there from Columbia, and Garmin been in the action today with Miller taking out that first stage. Perhaps Garmin getting a little tired of finishing second to Colombia, though, in those sprints.
But, Phil, you cannot give up. That's the important thing about being a sprinter. Whether your name is Tyler Furrow, whether your name is Tom Bonan, Oscar Freire, or even Mark Cavendish, you've got to go out on all of these stages to try and get yourself the victory. And if these riders, these other sprinters in the race, don't come out to challenge Mark Cavendish, well, they're not going to get the win anyway.
No, they've got to keep trying. It does work, believe me. Dominant sprinters, when they're winning, make it look easy, but all of a sudden something clicks, and I don't want to wish Mark any bad luck. Then all of a sudden it becomes very hard again. So far, so good for Columbia HTC. AG2R didn't look like a team to have a race leader on it when we came away from the Pyrenees. They were higgledy-piggledy, looked very ragged. In fact, it was Lance Armstrong and Alberto Contador commanding the race with Team Astana. But now they look like a leaders team at last. They are also winning the team race by just a hatful of seconds over Astana. They're not going to start dreaming of final victory in Paris just yet, not with the highest mountains still around the corner.
Bill, although it's quite rare for riders to win 4 stages in a single Tour de France, it has been done before, because some of the, I'm talking about the sprint stages, for example. Some of the big sprinters who've won 4 stages, Jean-Paul Van Poppel, Mario Cipollini, Tom Steels, and now, in fact, Mark Cavendish has joined that very select group of professional riders. And I wonder if he's going to try and go one better this year and get himself a 5th stage sprint victory.
Don't forget the man with the impossible name, Shimoledin Abdul-Japarov. Yes, so as we look over again, we're heading now, don't forget, to the finish in Vittel today. It's a beautiful little town, and it is en fête, as the French say, waiting to celebrate the arrival of the Tour de France here. As I said earlier, it's not a place we come to very often, but it sure is a nice place to be. So the Tour de France heads on. The brake is slowly being pulled back in, but it's not a real chase yet. I think that'll come a bit later on. This is bad luck here, isn't it, for Jerome Koppel? See you in a moment.
Wow. Wow. It's the wow sale.
Get your wow at Trek dealers. Wow prices on bikes. Wow savings on accessories and gear. Save big now through the end of the tour and win.
Win Lance's bike. Win my bike. You can win my bike and other great Trek prizes.
Scratch and win every day online or at your local dealer.
Wow. 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 Every day.
Save big. Win big now. July 17th through the 26th at Trek dealers. Get your wow.
The pitch from Hamels. He walks him.
Come on, Cole. Keep pounding the corner. Get him to chase one outside. Who are you?
Oh, Dad.
Oh, no.
Wearing the same cap the pros wear doesn't mean you're one. New Era. Make the majors or buy one at the store. Get your New Era cap at Lids.
Hi, may I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for car insurance that isn't going to break the bank.
You're in the right place. Only Progressive gives you the option to name your price. Here.
A price gun?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell you what I want to pay.
And we build you a policy to fit your budget.
That's cool. Feel so empowered.
Power to the people.
The option to name your price. New and only from Progressive. Call or click today.
My name's West Birmingham, Atlanta, Georgia.
Quaker State wants to know who has the world's worst commute.
We got construction on 75, 285, I-20, 30 miles, 2 hours. There's nothing I love about traffic. Nothing. Gotta be killing my engine.
A tough commute is tough on your engine, so get an oil that goes way beyond industry standards. Quaker State bonds to metal surfaces for 2 times better wear protection. Quaker State, real, durable oil.
Welcome back. This is the Talus Chaumont, all on the route to Tour today, and the riders heading 131 miles to Vittel. 7 riders are still clear of the field. Now, as we look here, let me remind everybody, is quite rightly concerned about cyclists and about motor drivers coming together on the open highways. And Dave Zabriskie is very much involved in the Yield to Life charity. He's involved. Dave Zabriskie, as you all know, is on the Garmin Slipstream. Incidentally, there's a similar thing goes on in Australia. It's called Share the Road. It's an awareness situation, and you must be aware that when you ride a bike, cars are not very nice machineries, and drivers should be aware of everything to do with Yield to Life.
Tyler Farrar, his dad got hit by a car very severely this past year.
He was commuting to work on his bike. A car crossed the center line and hit him. He was kind of crushed by the car, basically, so unfortunately he's paralyzed from the chest down now. He's made a lot of progress over the last few months. You know, it's a long road, but so far he's, working his way down it.
It happens, I think, every day. So I started my foundation, Yield to Life. It's just a way for me to try to spread the word. If I could get people to just say those 3 words and realize what they mean, yield to life. It's a fairly easy concept.
Well, we all agree with you, David, on that. Yieldtolife.org is where you should go and learn more of that. And we know that Mr. Farrar is watching today in the United States, and we wish him well, and we hope we will carry his son to Victory Day. Now, I know we were once told, by the way, to call Tyler Farrar. We did it for so long, but we now know we should say Ferrer. But I keep slipping back into the old way, so you'll bear with me with that. We'll get it right before the end of the tour. Either way, he's going to win today. He's going to beat Mark Cavendish, rest assured. Well, there we are, Paul. Lovely day, great day for a bike ride. 7 riders clear, 3:38. It's not going to stay away, is it?
It looks like it won't stay away, and at the moment this is pretty much advantage Team Columbia High Road, because they know that breakaway is a little bit dangerous, probably more dangerous than any of the breakaways we've had so far, because of the presence in it of Pelizzotti, because of the presence in it, of course, of Nicky Sorensen at just 10 minutes behind. And that's why I think these riders from AG2R are going to do the bulk of the pacemaking. If they keep it at the 3-minute mark, once we get to about 40 kilometers to go, that's when I think we'll start to see Team Columbia High Road come to the front and set the pacemaking to try and pull back the last couple of minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what, these boys are riding now. Look at the way they're driving at the front here. And it's nice to see the Yellow Jerseys team getting themselves a good reputation in this race, doing what they have to do. That's carry the race leader and show the team that they're capable of doing so. They'll want to keep him well protected today. His yellow jersey might be endangered tomorrow because there are 2 first category climbs, and so they want to keep him as fresh as they can and try and stop all these attacks today and save a little bit of energy for him if they can.
Well, he's going to have to defend that jersey tomorrow. If he can defend it tomorrow on the road down into Colmar, he's probably going to keep hold of it then until the climb up to Verbier on the eve of the rest day. And I think that's when we'll see some serious fireworks, although the road to Colmar, Phil, is an ideal road for a breakaway of 6 or 7 very strong riders. Why not somebody like Cadel Evans? Why not one of the Schleck brothers trying to force a surprise move on a set of roads that are very difficult to control a peloton on?
Well, if it does happen, that's going to cause great consternation in the bunch, and we are going to see a superb bike race tomorrow. There's a lot of riders tired. I'm just laughing at watching here the situation. Are there any room for any more bottles under there? You can't get back now.
This is the reason why, Phil, Lycra jerseys were introduced into the sport of professional cycling, so you could actually get 17 bottles into a shirt and drag it back into the main field.
And there is Nicholas Roach, far right, and it's all over. Here comes Popo as he races back in. Not only does he have to carry the bottles back to the peloton, he now has to find the other 8 riders on his team and hand 1 to each one. Well,
I think if he gets that many bottles down his jersey when we're racing up and down the Champs-Élysées, somebody might think the Hunchback of Notre Dame has come back.
Absolutely. 3:38, holding at the moment, just a little bit worse. 3:39. There's Nocentini having a much better day. He's got better day by day, I have to say that. He's not seen as a man who can win the Tour, but he's sitting there right now riding like a man who should when he's pulled on the beautiful colour of yellow in the Tour de France. It's a jersey everybody wants to wear. There's the bunny hop stretch, all safely through. We'll take a break.
The Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep summer clearance is here, and it's the best time to get some of the best deals. Get in now and get the Chrysler Town & Country with a generous cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. The trail-rated Jeep Grand Cherokee also comes with a cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose a hard-working all-new Dodge Ram truck with a cash allowance that's tough to beat. All with our best-in-the-business lifetime powertrain warranty. So hurry, come see the deals we've built for you at the Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep summer clearance.
Geico Power Sports. We feel your passion.
The hotter the hot. The colder the cold. The greater the demand. The more you need Duralast. Batteries built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
Adaptive friction extinguishers? And hypertronic wear resistors? Seriously? I use one that offers an engine guarantee. Yeah.
Only Valvoline guarantees your engine up to 300,000 miles. Get Valvoline.
I can't get a job because I don't have any skills.
Seen that before? Thought so. Are you ready to stop the vicious circle of no skills, no training, no money, and no future? Then call Anthem College right now at the number you see on your screen and get the training that can send your future into a circle of success.
I have the skills. I got the training. I have a great future.
Great future. Great future. Which circle are you living in?
Call Anthem College today at 1-800-698-1809. Start on the path to success.
Hi, may I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for car insurance that isn't going to break the bank.
You're in the right place. Only Progressive gives you the option to name your price. Here.
A price gun? Mm-hmm. So I tell you what I want to pay.
And we build you a policy to fit your budget.
That's cool. Feel so empowered.
Power to the people.
The option to name your price. New and only from Progressive. Call or click today.
Now, let me remind you, you can follow the world's best riders in the Tour de France online with exclusive tour content at Versus.com. Plus, you can sign up for the Versus Road ID Tour Challenge, and you could win over 300 great prizes, including 3 bikes, 1 each from Quota, Cervelo, and Parlay. The Tour de France on Versus.com, the ID Tour Challenge with MapMyRide.com. Let's go back to the leaders then and see how life is with the 7 of them. They're all going pretty smoothly. Andy Schleck just had a flat tire, but it was a routine change. He came back into the peloton very easy. Now, as we see all the names here, Sorensen, Igor Martinez, Franco Pelazzotti, Rémi Poriol, these riders getting away. 78 kilometers in. Laurent Lefebvre, Sylvain Calzati, Marcus Foten. Now, one man in the break and looking to get that polka dot jersey is Franco Pelazzotti. And it's all about bikes, I guess. He rides a Cannondale Super 6 machine, and here's more on that right now.
We're here with Cannondale's Rory Mason, and we have Franco Pelazzotti's tour bicycle, the Super 6. Tell us about some of the integrations that you guys have made over the years and why this team has been so important in the development of this machine.
That's right. Cannondale was the first American company to come over to Europe and sponsor a large professional team in 1997. And since then, we've really been using our teams as a test bed and a development tool to develop our cutting-edge technology. Some of those technologies would include the hologram crankset and the BB30 bottom bracket. The hologram crankset is actually 2 pieces of aluminum which are hollowed out and bonded together. It's a very stiff and lightweight piece, and that's very important. Another piece of technology is our tapered head tube and steer tube, where we use an 1.1 bearing on the top, an 1.5 bearing on the bottom, and again, that gives you a very lightweight and a very rigid system.
And stiff is mission critical when it comes to bike handling as well as power transfer. You definitely need a bike to respond and be stiff when you're attacking up a climb or sprinting to the finish line.
Well, these bicycles really are works of art, aren't they? And beautiful pieces of machinery. Pelazzotti's on that bike right now in the breakaway. Lance Armstrong, he's got his own bike back there, and he's just concerned with just making sure he gets through the day without losing any time. Tomorrow might be a different situation. Riding here alongside the champion of Switzerland, who led the Tour for the first 6 days. Fabian Cancellara really enjoying his Tour this year, having a great Tour on the rival Saxo Bank team. And he could be forced to come head-to-head with Lance Armstrong in the week that lies ahead, you know, especially in the time trial at Annecy, because that could be a crucial time trial this year with just a few seconds separating the leaders of the Tour de France at this minute. Big man just peeping into our picture. There's the real workhorse on Team Astana. That's Gregory Rast. Lance riding fairly well down here at the moment. He's not really worried about being up the front. Astana did do a lot of work. There's Contador at the moment as well, and they did do a lot of work at the front early on, but for some reason they called off the chase. At one stage Leipheimer got away in a very select group with Cadell Evans and Andy Schleck, but they all came back to the group pretty quickly. It was a very, very good race, although nobody got away for nearly 2 hours of racing, but they did do 90 kilometers in the 2 hours of racing, and because of it, just dropping back a bit now. They've come inside the fastest expected arrival time by 1 minute. The third hour has slowed just a little bit to 37 kilometers an hour. But you can tell they get plenty of sun down here. The wheat is ripe and ready to be cropped. So too is the linseed oil fields we saw driving to the finish this morning. And so there's a lot of work for the farmers to do once we're through town. Then it'll commence. Then they'll be able to get their tractors out on the roads and get down to the other fields. This is going to develop, I think, Paul, into an interesting battle with Igor Martinez and Franco Pelozzotti. I can't remember when two challengers for the King of the Mountains title have shot off up the road on a day of small hills. But at the moment, Pelozzotti's come up from third. He's into second slot now.
I think somebody's brought in the cavalry.
Well, here they come, boys. And the Americans have been done pretty well in the Tour de France since Greg LeMond's first victory. They've been a dominating factor, that's for sure.
And it's maybe a point to remember that the first American to ever participate in the Tour de France was Jock Boyer. He actually lives in Africa now. He's training the Rwandese cyclists to participate in international cycling and cycling events all over the continent of Africa, taking the young Rwandese team to places as far afield as the Tour of Morocco, the Tour of Eritrea, and the Tour of Egypt.
Quiet man, Jonathan Boyer, epitomised with the American Stetson, as we always saw him walking around the area. So Pelozzotti charging at the front. Igor Martinez always riding very close to him, you see, in the breakaway, just in case he tries anything. Anyway, don't forget, a second warning here, folks. Cadillac Ride of Your Life sweepstakes versus.com/Ride of Your Life is where you go. Big prizes at stake here, including a trip for two to the 2010 Tour de France. You need the word Bobke today. Wonder who he is. Anyway, Bobke, there you go. This is the rider in Milram just flashing through our screen is Marcus Fotum. Everybody seems to be quite in good spirits today, don't they? They've had a nice journey up from the south, from Limoges, and now we're going east through some stunning scenery here. Shortly we'll be saying goodbye to the area of Haute-Marne, and we'll be heading into the undulations of the Vosges Mountains. See you in a moment.
Don't go to bed before the king.
It's okay. It's just. Oh my God! It's us.
Stay up late with BK Burger Shots and the entire late night menu.
On eHarmony, I felt like I was meeting somebody that I already kind of knew.
At eHarmony, our in-depth questionnaire lets us get to know the real you, so we can match you with other singles on far deeper levels than other dating sites. Review all your matches for free at eHarmony.com.
Someone's picking off costumed heroes. What do you suggest we do about it? Retribution. Evil must be punished.
God help us all.
Watchmen. Buy it on Blu-ray and DVD Tuesday.
It's stinging a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, you'll get used to it.
The longer you keep your high-mileage car, the more it pays you back. Get Castrol GTX High Mileage. It helps engines last longer by fighting the main causes of engine failure.
I think a dime went up my nose. Yeah, it happens.
Don't change your car, change your oil to Castrol GTX High Mileage. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering.
Miguel Angel Torres. Undefeated in 5 years. The best pound for pound in the world. Can undefeated Brian Bowles pose a threat? Ask his last 7 victories.
% of all the vehicles we've ever sold in this country are still on the road. Now that's a long-term investment. Range Rover, the luxury that's more than a luxury. For special deals, visit a Land Rover Center today.
The 2009 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Travelers Insurance in Sync. And by Land Rover, designed for the extraordinary.
Tonnerre to Vittel is where we are today. We're coursing almost in an easterly direction, directly towards Germany. Towards the end, we do dive south and we turn north and then continue east, purely to take in the climb at 41 kilometers to go, the Col de Beaumont. And that is going to be an interesting little climb, I think. Short, sharp, and pretty steep. This is the breakaway with the King of the Mountains leader, Igor Martinez, here in the break. I don't think he wanted to be in the break, but he saw his nearest rival, and that's him, Franco Pelozzotti, attack, and he had to follow him. Pelozzotti today has taken enough points to move into second place in the King of the Mountains, but he's not really closed in yet on Igor Martinez, former teammate of Lance Armstrong, of course. 4 minutes the gap at the moment. Well, probably every day, lucky Mark Cavendish going up there quite often on the podium to receive all the congratulations from the podium girls. One of the podium girls actually comes from the United States. What a great time they have. Here's more.
Hi, I'm Laura Antoine. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a podium girl. Woo! It is my first Tour de France. I'm hoping it's not my last. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. Seeing all of France and just being together, it's a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy it. I had seen a photo of the other girls doing the protocol years ago, and I thought to myself, that's what I want to do. And I found a casting on castprod.com that went direct to another agency. I did one interview and I got the job. My day starts off about 6 every day and just jump in the cars and we go to the start line because we have a lot of clients that come in from Skoda and we serve them, and we do that all day. And then if you leave before the start to get here in enough time to prepare and just kind of relax before we have to go to the protocol at the end. Usually we have about 2 hours in between before the cyclists arrive, and then I would say you start getting ready just slowly so you can really take your time. There's no rush, so you don't have a black line going that way. There are 4 of us in our camping car together, so we all try to give each other as much space as possible. I don't think there's any jealousies. I think there's just natural competitiveness as being women. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. The biggest stress of my day would be preparing for the protocol when you go to do it that day. The protocol is giving the jersey to the cyclists when they finish the race. You get ready as fast as you can, and then you're backstage just waiting, and there's so much excitement because the cyclists have just finished. It's speed, 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 but it's go, and it's fun, and then you get upstairs and backstage, get the flowers, get the jersey, oh, you're done. Tony Martin is really, really nice to us, and he can speak English, so we speak to him quite often. It's just nice to see him because he always has a smile on his face. We're all here working together very hard to make this happen, so you just work off of that, you feed off of that. You can't imagine it until you get here. Thank you very much. Oh, I like it, I enjoy it, it's fun. Au revoir, Versus!
Well, I'm not surprised. Laura only had one interview. She's got a great bubbling personality. She's giving the jersey to Tony Martin, so we'll rename him. His real name, of course, is Tony Martin. English name on a German boy. But they do a great job, the podium girls, and they bring the colour to the Tour de France for sure at the end of a tough day for the boys in the saddle. Well, these riders, when you see them head on like this, appear to be really putting their backs into this race today. They know they've got quality here. These are not a couple of guys just trying to live in hope the peloton won't chase. These boys are well capable of holding off the speed. And that is probably what... Oh, dear me, that was pretty close.
You have to be alert all of the time. You never know what is going to happen. And even when you think things are nice and relaxed, as we look here at Fabio Sabatini, you really must be alert all the time on a road of the Tour de France.
Take a look at it again, I think. No, maybe not. We're back at the front of the bunch right now, but Sabatini almost was in big trouble then.
He certainly was very close to having a serious accident. It looks like a little dog that was the cause of that problem, Phil, going into the road.
Well, that really is very sad. 4:09 is the gap at the moment as he rejoins the race. And the whole team here of AG2R are doing their job now. You occasionally see Nicholas Roach there. He has the green jersey on it, and a green stripe on his jersey, rather. He's the champion of Ireland. And he is the son of Stephen Roach, who won the Tour de France in '87, and he's putting up a very good performance at the moment. This is his first Tour de France.
It's his first win of the season as well for Nicholas Roach, that championship just before the start of the Tour de France. He's won 5 races since he turned professional, and that was back in 2005. He turned professional for the Cofidis squad. He rode with them for 2 years, jumped across to Crédit Agricole for 1 season. And then in that season, in 2007, he actually won the time trial championships of Ireland before moving back to Cofidis, and this year jumping ship to come across here to AG2R.
67 kilometers left to run today. They're keeping up to the faster schedule, just very slightly inside faster than expected, bearing in mind that they always pick up time in the last 40 kilometers when the sprinters trains get into action on a flat stage. We're going to be early today, I would say. And it'll be a good day so far for the yellow jersey.
Well, I'm not sure if you picked it up, Phil, but just coming through, I'm also hearing that Romain Fayou has abandoned the sprinter off the great Agri-Toubel squad. And I wonder if that's because he was also involved in one of those accidents yesterday. That he was, in fact, one of the riders of the 19 who went down in a big crash.
Well, 19 guys did visit the doctor yesterday. Well, I hope, well, he's gone, that's for sure. But his brother's going to have to fly the flag now. Abandon Romain Fayou. It's now come onto our computer. He got the yellow jersey for a day in the Tour de France last year. He was the first to congratulate his brother when he won at Arcolis, but I'm afraid at the moment he's going home. And we'll go for a break and see you in just a moment.
Kelly Saunders Nature Valley. The place that inspires her to go faster and slower. Elk Mountains, Colorado. Where's yours? 100% natural Nature Valley granola bars. The taste nature intended.
Take a picture, let's not forget how beautiful this day has become. Here comes the sunshine, here comes a new day.
See what the new day brings. Days Inn, the best value under the sun.
A career in medical insurance billing and coding? Check it out. 9-to-5 job? Check. Great benefits? Check. Chance for advancement? Check. Financial security? Check. Feeling better about myself? Check. Proud of my new career? Check, check, check. I went back to school. Now I'm a success in working in the medical field. You can too. Check it out.
Train for a career in medical billing and coding. Call Anthem College at 1-800-698-1809 now.
Hi, may I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for car insurance that isn't going to break the bank.
You're in the right place. Only Progressive gives you the option to name your price. Here.
A price gun? Mm-hmm. So I tell you what I want to pay.
And we build you a policy to fit your budget.
That's cool. Feel so empowered.
Power to the people.
Yeah.
The option to name your price. New and only from Progressive. Call or click today.
This is where the American family are all today. Third, Lance Armstrong. No change at all on yesterday, by the way. Leipheimer is in fourth. Looking down the list there, George Hincapie, who works for Mark Cavendish on every stage finish. He's 28th. Zabriskie is 68th. Tyler Ferrer isn't really doing well overall. That was never the intention. He's here to win stages. He's had 2 second places so far. So I think we can go back to the start line this morning. What's his chances today, I wonder?
Tyler, another tough stage today. Some people say it's for the sprinters. How do you see this day shaking out, since it is a little bit lumpy out there?
Yeah, I think today's going to be a pretty tough stage for everyone. Just not big mountains, but climbing all day. So, we'll see. I think it just depends on what kind of break gets up the road at the beginning. If it's the right representation, I could see the break sticking today. But if it's a small group, who knows? Maybe we can take another shot at it.
After talking to Julian Dean a little bit yesterday, I guess the Columbia guys swung out in front of you and slowed your momentum just a little bit. Do you feel like you might be getting to those guys a little bit? The pressure of the big Garmin Slipstream team of you and Julian Dean is starting to make these guys get a little nervous?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we've been right there pretty much every field sprint. So, I mean, for sure they have to be aware of us. It was pretty close yesterday. So, maybe next time it'll go even better.
After sleeping on it a little bit and thinking about it, you were so close yesterday. Would you change anything in your approach to the line yesterday?
Not so much. I think I had a really good, pretty much a clean run at it, and I haven't had a chance to really watch it or analyze it too much. Just from the way I felt in the sprint, I felt like everything went pretty well. It was, like I said, it was a close one yesterday. So, oh well.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it.
You just have to keep trying, don't you? And one day you might well find he's got it right, and Cavendish also needs to make a mistake. But at the moment, things are very definitely the way of Mark Cavendish. It's uncanny the way he's finding that finishing line. Never been a British sprinter like him, I can assure you of that. Nice little steady drag up here now, Paul, as we get up towards the Côte de Grand Bois. Good crowd too. Most of them wanting to get the best view on the left side of the road here. Now watch out for the ensuing battle that's bound to come between Pelazzotti, who is now challenging Martinez for that polka dot jersey.
And that's a battle. It's going to take him a long time to pull back those points, but he could very easily do it on tomorrow's stage, Phil, because there's a couple of first categories, a couple of second categories, a lot of points available. These are just small points, 3, 2, and 1 point. But Martinez has to try and stay on the wheel of Pelazzotti and, if possible, get past him before the summit.
Hand up there for Laurent Lefebvre. He wants service. And Pelazzotti in front of Martinez here. Pelazzotti is now in second place overall, but 20 points behind Igor Martinez. So he can't get the lead today off him. But he certainly is making it look as though he's going to annoy him when we get into the races tomorrow and onwards. So looking at the man in blue here from Agri Tobel. He's lost a teammate today, of course, with the abandon of Romain Ferru, who has never finished the Tour de France, and it's not going to start this year. There's a beautiful job by the farmers as well. They're magnificent artists, because when they're at ground level doing things like that, I don't know how they know what they're doing.
No, they really take a lot of time to try and make something special for the passage of the Tour in their region. And that one is in fact signed Laurent René.
Indeed it is. So we must presume that Laurent René holds the local farming rights there. Here comes Nicholas Roach now doing his job as the faithful domestique, driving on behalf of the yellow jersey, who won't move positions. He'll stay in exactly that position. Now we've gone back to the leaders, because sooner or later Pelazzotti will make a run, and you can see that Martinez is sitting on his back wheel waiting for the move.
He's locked right in the wheel of the rider with the lime green jersey, Liquigas rider Franco Pelazzotti there, Phil, and he's going to wait for the acceleration. I'm not sure he's got the kick to get by Pelazzotti, but he will keep trying all the way through down towards the finish line.
This is the church of the Vierge, just here as we're going through La Vierge and its nativity. It was fortified, it's a Roman, and it's now in Gothic style, built in 1599. Left-hand turn there for the whole peloton. Beautiful racing roads. We're twisting into a totally different countryside here now.
Well, you can see, Phil, there's been no let off at all there, where these guys are also now on the early slopes of the Côte de Grand Bois, 4th category climb. The big surprise, I think, will come when the riders get to the final climb of the day, because a couple of people that we know have been out to have a look at that climb, and it kicks up to 20%, and that could create a little bit of a surprise here as we look at Nicholas Roach. It's nice to see the Irish national champions jersey at the front end of the main field. Take it easy, says the more experienced Jose Luis Arrieta. We don't need to keep the pressure on too much. Let's just keep it at around about the 4-minute mark, because as we get closer to the finish, the teams of the sprinters will come forward and finish it off for us.
Looks like the Euskaltel-Euskadi boys in the orange are also getting used to the hills again now. They've had a quiet time on the flat roads, but they've got their man up front in the breakaway. There he is in the polka dot jersey, so they've moved to the front just to try and cause a little bit of a disruption in the pursuit, which has yet to start. Although they're nibbling away again, they've come back inside 4 minutes, 3:42. It's a long, steady climb, but it's only 4th category. These are the lowest. Now they see Pelazzotti has accelerated, so too has Igor Martinez. Pelazzotti has offered a big lead out here for Martinez. He must be very confident he can outsprint him. Martinez is going to have to give it a go. It's only a point he's losing, so he's going to lose a point. So Pelazzotti is now 19 points behind Igor Martinez. Well, that was, he just showed it. It's interesting, you know, because these are going to be very important, these climbs, over the next couple of days. Pelazzotti might well nibble away into the lead. He said he wanted to finish high up in the overall, but he may have diverted his attention now to trying to win the King of the Mountains, and he can climb the big mountains as well. There's the American flag, rodeo style. We'll see you in a moment.
Choosing a car is like trying on a dress. As soon as you slip into it, you know it's the one. But you still turn around to see the back, because let's face it, you want them to hate to see you go, but love to watch you leave.
Introducing the all-new Cadillac CTS Sport Wagon.
Wow, sweet minivan. Woo!
That's minivan A to you.
It's raining! With the great taste of a McDonald's McCafe Mocha, a better day is possible. Freshly ground espresso, real steamed milk, and decadent chocolate. Go ahead, McCafe your day.
My name is Derek Berge. I'm in Los Angeles, getting honked at.
Quaker State wants to know, who has the world's worst commute?
74 miles, 4 hours. I have a sweaty, wet back, and it's 110 degrees. Speed limit, 65. Me, 5. My engine, not happy.
A tough commute is tough on your engine, so get an oil that goes way beyond industry standards. Quaker State bonds to metal surfaces for 2 times better wear protection. Quaker State, real, durable oil.
Tough. Ain't that $2 stick?
Well, I was shopping for a new car. Which one's me? A cool convertible or an SUV? Too bad I didn't know my credit was whack, cause now I'm driving off the lot in a used subcompact. F-R-E-E, that spells free. Creditreport.com, baby. Saw their ads on my TV. Thought about going but was too lazy. Now instead of looking fly and rolling fat, my legs are sticking to the vinyl and my posse's getting laughed at. F-R-E-E, that spells free. Creditreport.com, baby.
Offer applies with enrollment and Triple Advantage.
Oh, hi! Welcome to Progressive.com. Are you all right?
A ferocious white whale wrecked my boat.
Well, I'm sure we can help you, Captain
Ahab.
Well, it looks like you haven't had a claim in over 4 years, so you don't have to pay a deductible. That means you saved $500.
$500? I could get an electronic fish finder.
That's the spirit.
saving you money on boat insurance. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Welcome back to Tour de France. There's still the same 7 breakaways as they course through here. 131 miles. They're heading to Vittel today. Heading due east at the moment. In the distance is actually Germany. And don't forget, this is now available in high definition here from the Tour de France. If you're not too sure how you get that, just check your listings or visit your local shop. But the Tour de France themselves now sending out some terrific images this year as they continue to course through a lovely forest here. We're still in the Haute-Marne department. Lance Armstrong, this was moments ago actually. Armstrong had a flat tyre. Absolutely no panic at all. Routine change. You've got a handful of teammates come back, and he just caused his way back through the field. We might be able to just show you the change of the bike wheel here. There he is standing on the roadside. Wheel out. Any chance of anybody helping me out? No panic whatsoever, except by the photographer, who suddenly realised that was Lance Armstrong, stopped by the roadside. Lance takes the time to stretch it out. The peloton race on. Gaston, a team car of Johan Bernil, checks in. Routine, so he's not too worried, just waiting. Then back into the saddle, checks with the car, everything works, brakes aren't rubbing. Look at the teammates waiting, 4 of them waiting for him here. And then took him back into the bunch, no problems whatsoever. We're back at the front of the peloton now, in real time. And 7 riders are up front, leading by just 4 minutes. Well, 1 minute you look, it's down to 3:40. Next minute you look, it's up to 4 minutes. It's going nowhere, but it's holding at 57 kilometers to go. There are 2 more climbs to come. One is not too far away, about, let me just say, 2 kilometers up the road. As will be the Côte de Morlaix, or Morlaix. And then the Côte de Bourmont, that's a much steeper proposition. They've given that one a 3rd category tag.
It's going to be a difficult one, and one that the sprinters will want to try and attack at the front end of the group, because it kicks up to 20% the average gradient, and it's around about 2 kilometers in length. Shouldn't really split the main field, and it's too far from the finish, I think, Phil, to be used as a launch pad. The main field have done a fairly good job this afternoon keeping this breakaway group locked in between the 3-minute and the 4-minute margin. But what I think AG2R will want on the run in towards the finish at around about 40 kilometers to go is to see the teams of the sprinters coming forward and doing the pacemaking to try and pull them back.
Situation in the King of the Mountains just now is that Martinez has 83 points and Pelazzotti has 62. So pretty close at the moment, but won't be closed down today.
No, but there will be a big battle tomorrow, because there's a lot of points available on the road down into Colmar, with 2 first category climbs and 2 second category climbs, and they carry fairly big points, especially compared to the 4th category climbs that we've been over here this afternoon. So the next climb will be the Côte de Morlaix, and it should be only about 1 kilometer or so, Phil, for the 7 leaders to get there.
Well, a helicopter blowing a bit of the old wheat around here at the moment. Now, you may have seen the riders riding over these slogans in the road, and I think you might be able to see it here at the moment. Don't forget, while the Nike Chalkbot follows the road to the Tour de France, you, the fans, can follow the Nike Chalkbot at home on Twitter or at weareyellow.com. You just log in, submit your own messages of courage and inspiration, and then you might see them on the route to Tour de France. The peloton here continue now, or the breakaway rather, continues now to drive on. Almost a little bit insignificant, the breakaway gaps, but the best placed in the lead group is over 10 minutes behind. The break is 4, so Nicky Sorensen has got 6 minutes still to go to take the race lead on the road. They will, boys back in the peloton will keep a close eye on that one, as you can see, the weather is a beautiful day, but it is very hot. It's in Fahrenheit about 85, 86 degrees at the moment, 28 degrees Celsius, and these boys are going to feel probably pleasantly quite cool because of the slight drift across the course by the wind. They'll turn south soon, and then they'll come back north to turn east to finish.
Well, once we get to the top of this climb, you will see a challenge again coming for the small points available. Sorensen going back to the team car. Just trying to glimpse who the team manager was on that occasion. It's normally Kim Anderson himself, a former wearer of the yellow jersey in the Tour de France, and that was back in 1983. And I think, in fact, he won a stage into Roquefort that year.
He did indeed, and got the yellow jersey. Well, and some fine artists again. 2 straw bales missing out the field, forming the wheels of that bicycle. As the riders continue here at 55 kilometres left to go to the finish today. This is the town of Consigny that they've just passed through. And now they'll be on the climb itself, the Côte de Morlaix. Côte just means hill, really, and usually indicates nothing serious to test the riders, but because we've got first and second in the King of the Mountains in the break, we can be assured of a sprint finish.
And of course, it's very attentive of Egoy Martinez to see that move coming from Franco Pellizotti and marking it all the way, and that's going to be the same scenario tomorrow. Of course, we must always remember there are 2 other races within the race at the Tour de France. We always talk about the yellow jersey, but this title here is a very prestigious title, the King of the Mountains. And when you think of the people who've won the King of the Mountains title in the past, there are some great names and great legends. The Eagle of Toledo, for example, Federico Barmontes, the Angel of the Mountains, your hero Charlie Gall. And it's in that competition that a lot of stories have been written about the Tour.
Absolutely. Sadly, Charlie no longer is with us. He died about 3 years ago, I think. But Federico Barmontes, the Eagle of Toledo, visited the Tour. He's in his 80s now. And he watched the race on the Spanish stage finish in Barcelona. Here comes the sprint now, and Pellizotti, he is a good sprinter, by the way, and these are not real hills, they're just shallow climbs, so he's got the better again of Martinez, which gives him another point advantage over him. As I say, these are nibbling away at the competition, but doing nothing to alter the destiny just yet. That might change tomorrow.
Well, Pellizotti, I think, Phil, has changed his desire at the Tour de France this year. After finishing 3rd overall in the Giro d'Italia early in the season, he felt that he had a good crack at getting himself a podium position in the Tour. Well, he's pretty much lost all hope of that, because he slipped a long way down in the standings because of a fairly nasty travel through the Pyrenees. He's in 49th place now, looking for 16 minutes and 44 seconds, which is probably why he's decided to change his ideas with a possible crack at getting himself the King of the Mountains title, which is why he's looking for the points, even on these small, flatter stages, to try and eat into the advantage of Egoy Martinez.
Good work today by AG2R. They look like a team with a leader on it, and that's nice to see. They're living up to the tradition of the Tour de France. The yellow jerseys on your squad, then you've got to actually go and show the man you can lead the race with a strong team. So as the Tour de France courses slowly but very shortly towards Vittel, a big race today, 211 kilometers, 131 miles. The Peloton are getting no closer. We're hovering around 4 minutes and have been now for about 100 kilometers. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going outside to find Jonathan Waters of Team Garmin Slipstream.
The Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep summer clearance is here, and it's the best time to get some of the best deals. Get in now and get the Chrysler Town & Country with a generous cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. The trail-rated Jeep Grand Cherokee also comes with a cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose a hard-working all-new Dodge Ram truck with a cash allowance that's tough to beat. All with our best-in-the-business lifetime powertrain warranty. So hurry, come see the deals we've built for you at the Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep summer clearance.
The hotter the hot, the colder the cold, the greater the demand, the more you need Duralast. Batteries built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
You want to give your family a better life, so Rent-A-Center makes it easy to get the things your family wants and needs. No credit checks, no credit needed, satisfaction guaranteed. Hey, it's their way of making it easy on you.
At the World Championships, it's not about wrapping yourself in newfound glory. It's about wrapping yourself in old glory.
Across the nation, elderly, disabled, and other families in need live in unsafe homes because they can't afford crucial repairs. Rebuilding Together is their best hope.
Rebuilding Together's purpose is to preserve affordable home ownership for our nation's millions of low-income homeowners.
Each year, we repair over 10,000 homes, making them safe and more energy efficient at no cost to the owner. Our work stabilizes neighborhoods and revitalizes communities. Learn how to impact your community at rebuildingtogether.org.
At First Bank, we do not clone nor endorse the cloning of U.S. currency. Would be against international law and a breach of banking ethics. The $50 you receive upon opening a free checking account is real money and has not been duplicated in a covert genetics laboratory. So at your earliest convenience, go to First Bank or visit us online and get $50 that has never been cloned.
Yes, the super sprinter on the block, Mark Cavendish, who has a clear lead at the moment, 176 in the green jersey competition at the start of the day. He's picked up 6 points along the way today, and Tonnerre 169. He's picked up 4 points along the way. Rojas in third place with Tyler Ferrer in fourth, but that's equal with Jose Joaquin Rojas. Let's go to the start this morning and talk to Mark Cavendish.
Mark, your fourth stage win, it was a little bit uphill. Some people were saying it might be a tough sprint for you. Were you surprised with the way you took the stage yesterday?
Not at all, you know. Go on your internet forums and write that I can't do it. It doesn't bother me. I'm going to do it. My team knew I could do it. I knew I can do it. It was fine. It's a sprint. It's not finishing up one, two, you know.
You seem like such a cool cucumber after the stages, before the stages, and then you explode during the stage. Do you have to save up that emotion? Is that why we see you maybe not as excited as we think you should be, maybe after 4 stage wins?
Yeah, I guess so, you know, but I still have a job to do, you know. I can reflect on it once I've done it, but, you know, if you reflect too much on what you have done, then you're not going to succeed, you know, and I still have a job to do in this tour, and I can't reflect on it till I finish that job, so.
A pretty hilly stage today. Will this team ride 100% for you, or will they, or do you think the parcours don't suit necessarily a sprinter like yourself?
I have a target now, and that's to win on the Champs-Elysees. That's a big one for me now, so.
Thanks, Mark.
Right, well, I think we'll nickname the Manx missile the cool cucumber now, and I wonder if we'll see him in the action. One thing's for sure, if he is racing for the line for the win, he'll have to fight off Tyler Ferrer again. I'm sure of that. Well, looking at the stunning countryside, Paul, they're still working out what are they going to do about these riders. If they do catch these riders, then we can expect a sprint finish, and AG2R will step away. And of course, the man in charge of the team that looks after Tyler Ferrer is Jonathan Waters, and he's sat alongside me right now. So I reckon, Jonathan, are we going to catch this breakaway today? And if we do catch the breakaway, is your man going to win?
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, the breakaway, it looks like it has a pretty good possibility of coming back. I mean, I'm sure Whitey will be putting our guys on the front here pretty soon. You know, it's a good opportunity for Tyler to win because today's a little bit harder, and he's a rider that doesn't fatigue day after day. He kind of gets better as the race goes on. And then the last thing is I really think that Cavendish has started to exhibit that he's going after the green jersey, and so since he's going after these mid-race sprints, and he might play it a little bit conservative or might be a little bit tired in the final sprint. I mean, we'll see. I mean, obviously we have to capitalize on mistakes of him because he's so good.
Yeah, Jonathan, I've just one quick question for you, because it seems to me as if everybody allows Team High Road HTC to make the lead out, to make their train, which they seem to have got down to perfection right now. Cavendish is almost unbeatable. Surely the ideal tactic to try and get in front of him is to take the responsibility and try the big lead out before. And you've got some big, powerful guys. I mean, Brad Wiggins and Christian Vandervelde, I know they're going for the overall classification, but if they took the risk on one day to try and put Tyler into a good position, that could set it up and cause a confusion.
Well, you know, we have been using David Miller and Brad in the lead out. What we've been trying to do, because at the Giro we did sort of take responsibility at the front of the race and take the lead out from 5K out and so on, and it didn't really work for us because Columbia kept coming over the top of us. And so in this race, what we've been trying to do is sort of almost slingshot around Columbia at the last minute. And yesterday, they almost got it right. I mean, you can see David Miller going up the side, and they almost had the momentum to go right past Columbia, but then Mark Renshaw went a little bit to the inside and closed up the door a little bit, and Julian Dean wasn't able to get a clean shot through, and so it stumbled up a little bit. But I think they're playing the right tactic. I mean, our guys are doing a good job. They're just
consistent. The guys are being consistent. I think yesterday was also a fairly complicated sprint as well, because it was slightly uphill, and the bend round to the right-hand side made it, well, Columbia took the right line around the corner, and it made everybody else, and your man Tyler had to go a long way round to come up for second place.
Right, yeah, I mean, he was great yesterday. He just was just not quite positioned quite right, and you know, we've got to, I mean, we've got to just keep building on the momentum we've got and the learning that we've got and how to get him to the line, how to get him to the line first.
When a guy gets when a guy gets second so many times, how do you build him up to come back and do it again and again? Because that's got to be the hardest position in the Tour, to finish second.
You know, he is, but amazingly, Tyler's a very resilient person. You know, I have not seen one day where he's come back to the bus and said, I just can't do it. Every day he comes back and he's angry and he's ready to go the next day. So I think he'll give it a great crack today.
Just remind everybody we're listening to Jonathan Vaughan, sat alongside Paul and myself here in the commentary box. He's just joined us for a few minutes. Before you run away, Jonathan, though, you've got two guys now, really, who can go for the overall. Today's a sprint. The rest of the race could be for the climbers. One is the British rider Bradley Wiggins. We've never seen him ride so well, so goodness knows what you've done, you can tell us. And the other one is your own man from America, Christian van der Velde, who was fourth last year.
Yeah, they're both in great position right now, and as we go into the stage tomorrow in the Alps, you know, we're gonna, you know, that's where the truth really lies for both of these guys. I think you know, Christian is definitely more experienced in this position now, and you know, is more of a steady Eddie rider. Brad is going to be very interesting. I don't really know what to predict with him. He could come through the Alps great. He could come through the Alps and lose some time. He could. I'm not really sure. But of course, I'm hoping that if he can just stick with the lead group all the way from the Alps, then that time trial and honesty could be very, very interesting.
And that's what I was talking about just a little bit earlier. One or two of the other riders in this race are expressing a certain amount of concern about the position of Brad Wiggins because of that individual time trial, which leads me to think that maybe somebody like Andy Schleck will go out and try and blow the race apart on the Alpine passes to get rid of course, your man Bradley Wiggins, because they realize how impressive he could be in that time trial.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, I mean, he certainly is going to be impressive in the time trial, but he's, you know, I'll tell you right now, Brad, compared to his, you know, sort of peak weight when he's riding on the track is 8 or 9 kilograms lighter.
We've never seen him look so good.
Yeah, and, you know, he's trained very, very specifically this year. He's just really, really motivated to do, you know, a 3-week stage race with the best in the world.
All right, well, we're inside 50 kilometers by a little way now, 47.7 kilometers. Jonathan Vaughan is going to hang on alongside for a minute longer. This is Franco Pelazzotti driving the brake on the front. And it looks as though Pelazzotti might like to finish this one off today. This is an interesting little move, a little, what should we call it, a diversionary battle, should we call this, Jonathan?
Yeah, he's, I mean, it's a good move for sure. I mean, it's got some good riders in there, so it's not going to be easy to bring this back. It's not going to be easy to bring it all.
Well, these boys still have a chance. 4 minutes 5 seconds. The 7 riders between them have ridden 37 Tours de France. So if that isn't experience enough to win a stage, what is? We'll take a break anyway and join us in a moment.
Watchmen on Blu-ray. Watchmen. Buy it on Blu-ray and DVD. And look for Watchmen. The End is Nigh. The complete experience for PlayStation 3. Rated M for mature.
Finding a great low rate on auto insurance in today's tough economy doesn't have to be a perilous journey into the unknown. Just call the General right now for an instant quote. You'll get a great low rate, a low monthly payment, and a down payment as low as $59. Don't get caught driving uninsured or paying more for insurance than you need. Call or log on to the General now for immediate proof of insurance.
For best car insurance rates in town, call 1-800-GENERAL now.
just another perfect day. I think I'll walk this way where the trees do sing. I'm feeling part of everything, and all my troubles seem to fade away. Skies look brighter.
The hybrid for everyone is here. The Insight, designed and priced for us all from Honda.
Going to bars and going to clubs, that really is a passive way of meeting people. eHarmony really is an active thing.
It's I'm ready, I want this. eHarmony is a tool in that choice.
eHarmony.com. Review all your matches for free.
Lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop. Boom, boom, boom.
Attention! Select Dell Minis come standard with Verizon Wireless Mobile Broadband built in, so you can surf the web, check email, chat, and download on the go. All on America's largest and most reliable 3G network.
I call her lollipop.
Treat yourself to the 10-inch Mini with your choice of 6 colors, starting at just $3.99. Dell, yours is here.
There are moments in life when there are no limits, no boundaries, no walls. That the rules of gravity just don't apply. Because there is no statute of limitations on greatness.
Yes, the varied faces of the Tour de France. Quick run-through of the race summary so far. 179 kilometres to go. Cavendish went off for the sprint, got 6 points. The second was Hushoft, he got 4. 144 to go. The 7-man breakaway formed. At 64 to go, Armstrong had a puncture. He's back in the pack. 45 kilometres to go. Breakaway has a lead of just on 4 minutes. And that's where we are at the moment. The big pack finding its way through beautiful narrow roads here today. We're just going into the Vosges. We're not quite into the Vosges department yet, but once we're in there, we stay there for the rest of the day, and we've got one little climb 41 kilometres from the finish. Beautiful green roads today. Jonathan Vort is alongside us here. Jonathan, we're getting up to the sprint here, which isn't really of great interest to these riders. Saint-Thibault, it leaves us 42 kilometres to go, but straight after the sprint, of course, we are going to move on to the climb. Have you seen the climb?
No, I haven't, but I mean, it looks like it's a fairly tough little third category climb, and and that's sort of one of the hopes that the number of climbs today are maybe going to make the peloton a little bit softer, more tired today, and that suits Tyler Farrar for today's finish for sure.
Well, one thing I was going to ask, because very often you do go out and reconnaissance the big mountain stages, but what about these smaller stages here? Because a friend of ours went out this morning and rode this climb, and he reckoned it kicked up to around about 20%. How do you get that kind of information beforehand to have the right gear ratios on for a day like this?
Well, we do have someone driving Avant course, I mean, ahead of the race and getting that information back to Matt White in the car. Sometimes that's me. Today it's not. It's interesting because I can say that the other day, Columbia, when they caused a split in the crosswind, they did an excellent job of looking at the Avant course, because if you looked at the map that day, that corner wasn't so much there, but in reality there was a corner there, and that, and they had Eric Zabel driving the course before and radioed back to or called back to the team car and said, right here there's going to be a section of crosswind, and it caught a lot of people, including us, with their pants down.
Well, they've just gone through the sprint there, and as we expected, no sprint. Nobody's interested in the green jersey here. Rui Porio, Franco Pelazzotti, Sylvain Calzati was the order over the line. So we are 42.3 kilometres now from the finish. We're about to go up what is a third category climb, the Côte de Bourmont. It is the steepest of the day. It's only around a kilometre, but it is steep. They reckon around 20% in portions. Nothing really has happened since the breakaway formed, but they're holding on to their 4-minute breakaway for the 7 rides. They've got away 78 kilometres in today, and that's the way it stayed for the rest. 4:11, Paul, 41 kilometres to go. It is possible. It is
very possible, and if you get 2 or 3 teams of the sprinters coming forward and getting themselves organised as we go through just inside of a kilometre to the summit of this very steep third category climb, the teams of the sprinters, I think, will start to come to the front once they've got over the summit of this climb, because they're probably just a little bit wary of starting the pacemaking before it.
Look at the crowd here, Jonathan. That's the thing about this year's Tour de France. We've had great crowds on the route.
Well, I think it's been great weather. I think it's gone through some great parts of France. Of course, today we're getting fairly close to Burgundy, so I'm excited, so I can do a little wine tasting. But yeah, it has. It's been a beautiful tour all the way from Monaco across the south of France and even down to Barcelona. The crowds were incredible, even though that's the one day we did have rain. Yeah, I mean, it's really been
David Miller was unlucky there, wasn't he? He got caught, what, a kilometre from the finish up that hill.
Yeah, I mean, we've had an incredible tour this year. I mean, the strength of our team is unbelievable, but we have been second and very close, and a bridesmaid a few too many times this tour. So, I mean, I'm certainly hoping that that begins to turn around as we head into the second half.
Now, do you think this breakaway will get caught 4:15 at 41 kilometres to go?
Well, it's like you said. Basically, once the peloton gets over the top of this climb, there's going to have to be a real concerted effort between between Columbia and ourselves, and potentially another team to get this back. It's certainly not going to just come back on its own, because these are strong riders in this breakaway. This isn't just a fluff move.
Well, it's like I said a little bit earlier on, you can allow a group of 3 or 4 riders to get clear and know that you can easily pull them back together on the run in towards the finish. But these guys have got serious experience throughout the years of the Tour de France, and Phil calculated that of the riders in this breakaway, they had participated in 37 tours amongst them.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And
as many as you, Phil.
No, it's many I've seen. No, I haven't ridden any. But this is a wonderful crowd, inspiring 2 big climbers here. A small hill, but the 2 top climbers in the Tour are in the breakaway. The lime green is Franco Pelozzotti. The polka dot is the current leader, Igor Martinez. He rides at Euskaltel Euskadi, which is the best team from Spain. And they're marking each other up the way up the hill here. Now then, Pelozzotti is not a bad sprinter, is he, Jonathan? So he should always beat him in the sprints for the points.
Well, I would say so, but you never know when you're out in a breakaway like this for over 100K. Sometimes a sprinter's legs can go a little bit dead. I mean, it'll be interesting between Igor and Pelozzotti, who are both really strong riders.
Especially on this one, because it's a slightly steeper gradient, and I think Igor Martinez may well just be able to rival the Italian here.
Well, he's certainly going to have a go, but he's trying to hang on. But you see a nice kick by Franco Pelozzotti. This is the steepness of the climb, and it's all over. So he gets, I think it's 6 points now, because it's 3rd category, and Igor Martinez. So he steadily lost ground all day, Igor, but he's still going to have a 15 or 16 points in the bank going into the mountains of the Vosges tomorrow.
Well, psychologically, that's going to be a major blow for tomorrow's stage.
Yeah. So a nice little scuffle on the hills there, but at the end of the day, it'll be Igor Martinez on the podium tonight. Well, as we look down there, Jonathan Vaughters is alongside me, dreaming of a finish for the Garmin Slipstream team today and victory for Tyler Ferrer. Of course, that's what the Tour de France is all made of. It's dreams all the way to Paris.
Asphalt in a Cervelo S2 or a Cadillac CTS Sport Wagon, you're sure to get that rush. Now imagine the rush you could feel at the final stage of the Tour de France with the Cadillac Ride of Your Life sweepstakes. Just watch the Tour de France on Versus and look for the on-screen code. Then log on to Versus.com/rideofyourlife to enter. You could win a Cervelo S2 and a VIP trip to Paris to watch the 2010 Tour. The Cadillac Ride of Your Life sweepstakes, and watch the Tour de France right here on Versus.
What? A force field that prevents sludge.
Tired of the claims? Get a guarantee. Only Valvoline guarantees your engine up to 300,000 miles. Get Valvoline. Get guaranteed.
Why are you in my yard?
Why are you in your yard? There's all sorts of super destinations. You could go to a jazz festival, stock car racing, ride a donkey in a canyon. You just gotta go. I'll feed you free bread.
America is an auto nation. We love our cars and trucks. It's about cheap. It's It's time we changed the way we buy them. It's about
Go is AutoNation, America's largest auto retailer. And we've changed the way you search for cars and trucks. At GoCarsAndTrucks.com, shop over 5,000 vehicles and even appraise your own trade. It's time to experience the change. Go, an AutoNation experience.
There's more excitement coming to Blackhawk. Are you ready for Blackhawk's 24-hour fun? Blackhawk, bet up to $100. Are you ready for the thrill of craps and roulette? Same Blackhawk, more ways to win. Now playing.
It's dangerous. Well, we're looking at the peloton here as they climb up the Côte de Bourmont and struggling their way to the top. It's a wide road, but it doesn't look it, but it is quite steep. This is our Trek aerial view today. Belgian flags are flying in this French town, and we're right on the borders of saying goodbye to Haute-Marne into the department of the Vosges. And good to see your man is on the front up there. So as we see the Maillot Jaune establishing a little bit of authority here at the top of the last climb of the day, which is quite a steep climb. But is that Bradley Wiggins right behind there?
Well, there was Bradley Wiggins sitting right next to Lance Armstrong, which I think is, perhaps not indicative of anything right here, right now, but in a metaphorical sense, I think that was really interesting that Brad just sort of pulled right up next to Lance, and they're both just right behind the yellow jersey.
So there's the situation at the moment. The race 4 minutes 12 seconds behind 7 leaders. There's no more hills today. It's goodbye to the Haute-Marne and hello to the Vosges. We're heading home to the finish today.
Well, I have a funny feeling it was interesting to see Bradley Wiggins riding at the front end of the main field, Jonathan, over the top of that climb, and that's a sign that he's paying serious attention. Now that we've got over the climb, the teams of the sprinters are going to start to look at 40 kilometers to go, a minute for every 10 kilometers to wipe away the breakaway group. Do you think Matt White in the team car will give the order for a couple of your guys to go forward and maybe help Team Columbia?
Yeah, I would definitely think so. I think we'll probably see David Zabriskie on the front, perhaps Ryder Hesjedal as well. Maybe Danny Pate, and I'll see what, we'll see what combination he decides to use. But of course, for our team alone, as we have so many GC aspirations, it's impossible for us to really throw the whole team on the front to bring this back. So we really do need it to be a cooperative effort with Columbia, or else it won't work.
Well, as the Tour de France gives a tour of churches here in Bourmont, which is where the climb was. We're now just about 5 kilometers from entering the department of the Vosges, which is where there are big climbs here. We're not going over them today, but we will find them tomorrow. 2 first category hills tomorrow. Be a very different day of racing, that's for sure.
Well, it's the first time really that the climbers have got to stretch their legs since they left the Pyrenees behind them, and just with Jonathan Vaughters, the team manager of the general manager, I should say, of Team Garmin Slipstream. That's always very strange, isn't it, for the riders? Even though it's not a massive big mountain stage, it's a completely different pedaling action tomorrow when they go into the Vosges, and those roads are very difficult roads to even find some kind of a rhythm.
Oh, I think tomorrow's going to be a more interesting stage than people think. I mean, it's not truly the Alps, but I really think that you're going to see a couple of the contenders crack, or at least show signs of a little bit of weakness tomorrow, and we'll start to see the shape of the race tomorrow.
Well, the field now are going to have to react or lose the race today, that's for sure. Because just watching here, the yellow jersey tagged in behind just 2 teammates now, and Astana are in there as well. Now, as always, coming your way, 8 o'clock Eastern Time is our special prime time show, and the men in charge of that is Bob Kirol and Craig Hummer.
Phil, well, we hear you are going to join us as well for that 3rd and final part of the Greg LeMond story. It's going to be a busy night at 8 p.m. We'll have our Ask Bobke as usual. We'll also have a travelogue piece. And if we can fit it in, also continuing our countdown to Vaughan 2. As you know, we're only 9 days away.
Indeed we are. And if Bob was riding the Tour, he'd be frightened to death with 9 days to go to that steep climb of Mont Ventoux. But we're watching the Tour de France, and now this is D-Day for the chasers. Now we've got to see the next time we look at the peloton. We're just glancing at the computer. Remy Poriol's a heartbeat. I missed it. It's gone off the computer before I could say what it was, Paul. But anyway, 3:52 is the gap. 3:54 as we speak. It's not exactly reversing here, Jonathan.
No, and as the last shot that I saw of the Peloton, you didn't see a real concerted effort from the teams. I mean, of course, you have to wait for a few flat kilometers to pass before all the teams can get their riders up front. But, you know, something needs to start happening fairly soon if we're going to see a sprint today, that's for sure.
Interesting to see that Armstrong has sent a lot of teammates up front now. Now, why would he do that, Paul?
Well, I think he's waiting to see if there is going to be action by the sprinters, and he always understands that in the last 30 to 40 kilometers, as the pressure starts to go on at the front end of the main field, you start to get tired riders, and if you're sitting at the back end of the pack, that's when the accidents happen, and he doesn't want to get involved in any of that. Over to the right-hand side, you can see the Russian national champion in the red, white and blue there. That's Sergei Ivanov. Not too far away from him is the leader of that squad as well, Vladimir Karpits. But whenever there is a thought or a possibility of danger, Armstrong always comes right up to the front of the pack. He's riding, isn't he, Jonathan, very much like the leader of this race.
Oh, yeah. No, he's very much. I mean, you can tell, you know, he's at the front. He's at the front at the right moments. He's at the front at the tough moments. I mean, you can tell this isn't, you know, even though this is a mountain stage, if you look at the riders that are at the front right now, other than the leaders' teams, these are not, you know, the pack fill of the Peloton. I mean, these guys are the strong riders of the Peloton. You can see Andy Schleck there. You can see Lance Armstrong there. You can see Brad Wiggins there.
That's right. We've gone to the back here, and we can see the national champion of Switzerland wants to call up his team car here for some reason. This is Fabian Cancellara in the spot of bother at the moment, waiting for his car to come through. And it looks like he wants a tyre change here. Yes, he's indicated a back wheel. Here they come, boys. Bit more urgency required now, of course. Bjorn Ries, the winner of the Tour de France in 1996, getting the bottles in and say, well, while you're here, Fabian, you may as well take this lot back up to the race when you get back. And that's the way it is. I thought for a moment there that lady was going to ask for his autograph, but she's let him go.
You know, Actually, Fabian yesterday in the crash yesterday, David Miller had lost his Garmin unit on the side of the road. It flew off his bike, and Fabian Cancellara went to the side of the road, picked it up for him.
You're joking.
And brought it back up to him in the Peloton. So because he did that, we gave Fabian a brand new Garmin 405 watch as a thank you for that this morning.
Dear me, that was some present. You see, all kindness is paid off for in the Tour de France. And if you don't know, we're sat next to Jonathan Waters, the general manager of Team Garmin Slipstream at the moment, who are having a very successful Tour de France. Two riders fighting for an overall high finish in Paris. Tyler Farrer fighting out the daily stage winnings with Mark Cavendish. We'll take a break. Rejoin us.
My name is Wes Birmingham, Atlanta, Georgia.
Quaker State wants to know who has the world's worst commute.
We got construction on 75, 285, I-20, 30 miles, 2 hours. There's nothing I love about traffic. Nothing. Gotta be killing my engine.
A tough commute is tough on your engine, so get an oil that goes way beyond industry standards. Quaker State bonds to metal surfaces for 2 times better wear protection. Quaker State, real, durable oil.
Hi, may I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for car insurance that isn't going to break the bank.
You're in the right place. Only Progressive gives you the option to name your price. Here.
A price gun?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell you what I want to pay.
And we build you a policy to fit your budget.
That's cool. Feel so empowered.
Power to the people.
The option to name your price. New and only from Progressive. Call or click today.
Buckle up, everybody, because we're taking a ride that can strain your relationships and hurt your pride. It's the credit roller coaster, and as you can see, it kind of bites. So sing the lyrics with me. When your deck goes up, your score goes down. When you pay a little off, it goes the other way round. It's just the same for everybody, every boy and girl. The credit roller coaster makes you want to hurl. So throw your hands in the air and wave them around like a wannabe frat boy trying to get down and bring them right back to where your laptop's at. Log on to freecreditreport.com. Free credit score and report with enrollment and triple advantage.
If you plan on building, furnishing, or remodeling your home, or you're just tired of paying retail, don't spend another dollar. Now, you can enjoy an incredible selection of top-quality, name-brand products priced up to 50% less than retail. Take the first step towards saving hundreds or even thousands of dollars on nearly anything for your home. Call for your free Direct Buy Insider's Guide to Buying Direct and learn what retailers don't want you to know. Each full-color page of the Insider's Guide is packed with powerful information. Discover some of the hundreds of thousands of products available from over 700 name-brand manufacturers. Everything, including furniture, cabinets, appliances, flooring, lighting fixtures, and so much more, all without retail markups. At Direct Buy, you can't afford to miss this valuable opportunity. Call the number on your screen now to get your own Direct Buy Insider's Guide. You'll also receive a visitor's pass and map to the Direct Buy showroom nearest you. The sooner you call, the sooner you'll be buying direct. So call now.
Been heading up for a week in yellow now since he got the yellow jersey, and behind Montentini, this is where they line up. Second, Alberto Contador at 6 seconds. Armstrong is third, 2 seconds further back. Leipheimer is fourth. They're all Astana. Then comes Garmin's Christian van der Velde, who finished fourth last year. Andy Schleck, the favourite from Europe, he's in ninth. Carlos Sastre, defending champion, is 16th. Cadell Evans, twice run-up, is 18th. Let's go to the start now with Frankie Andreu. Our Cisco Insider is with Lance Armstrong.
Lance, yesterday we saw a few crashes out on the road. Seems like a bit of nervous energy is still left in the peloton as these riders are tripping up over each other. Can you explain to me what's the feeling out there?
Well, I think it's not really typical for second week. Normally things settle down a little bit, maybe get some breaks going. But we had the rest day, and then we had a day that was probably not that demanding, so guys were fresh. We had tailwind, small roads. And you know, that's what happens. I mean, guys are a little antsy, and then the thing came down in the middle of the race. The little publicity balloon deflated and came down in the middle of the group. That was interesting. So it was just a weird, you know, series of events. They neutralized the race, and then there was the big crash. But I think people are still, you know, still trying to be up front, still fresh, I guess, in a way, because of those two easier days. But let's hope we avoid them.
But with fresh legs today, it's a little bit more up and down. There's some categorized climbs out there. What kind of riders does a stage like today suit?
Well, you know, these guys that it's going to take somebody that wants to go all day, and it's going to be a hard day. While there's no major climbs, it's bumpy, and you never know what the wind does. I think a lot depends on Columbia, whether or not they want to control the race. I don't see why any other teams would necessarily help them when Cavendish is clearly the fastest. But today might be the day that one goes. I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes it's just as you know, it's just the luck of the draw. You know, you make that move, 10 groups get caught, and then all of a sudden that one group gets away, and that's it.
Cavendish, as you said, is the fastest out there. He's won 4 stages. Tyler Farah has come close. If you had to give some advice to Tyler on how to beat Mark Cavendish, what would it be?
Well, he's awesome. I mean, he's doing great. He's trying hard. His team's organized. He's a good kid, like in the bunch. Great to talk to. He was closer yesterday than he has been. I mean, I think we were actually talking about it at breakfast this morning. Maybe somehow disrupt that Columbia train. I mean, they're riding to 500 meters to go, completely uninterrupted. I mean, if you put together 4 or 5 guys and got in front of them or just somehow complicated the train a little, that might be what it takes. And he's got Julian to be his final wheel. That's really all he needs. And he's getting closer, though. He's not going away.
Maybe he'll have better luck today. Well, good luck for yourself today.
Thank you.
Well, there you are, Jonathan. Even Lance is on your side. Big pack then as they make the sweeping right-hander, and the gap 3:35, so it hasn't come down much by in the last 2 kilometers or so. But Lance Armstrong, Paul, has been talking today about how the Garmin slipstream team have been getting closer every day. Well, we've got Jonathan Waters alongside us. What must you do to break up that train? That's the key, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think it's just a matter of timing for us, because we literally are going to have Tyler come past Cavendish with more momentum than he has, and that means timing everything absolutely perfect, meaning that, you know, the last wheel or last guy, Julian Dean, is actually coming past Renshaw with more momentum than Renshaw has, and then Tyler's able to get a little bit of a jump on Cavendish, and it's a hard thing to do. I mean, we've been getting closer and closer all year, and Tyler and Julian are, you know, really melding, you know, maybe even better than the old, you know, Julian Torhuzov team, but, you know, we're up against the guy who, you know, honestly, I've never seen a sprinter like Mark Cavendish since I've been involved in cycling.
Plus, also, you've got also the relationship now between Mark Renshaw and Mark Cavendish, because Renshaw also used to be the lead-out man for Torhuzov. And those two riders, both coming from a background of track sprinting, I think all of a sudden they've really melded well together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the sprints are really fast these days, really fast, and I think that track background helps more and more with you know, with these guys in the final sprints.
Well, I think the Breakaway are going to be very happy this afternoon, Jonathan, because our onboard computer has predicted that this Breakaway is going to survive with 37 seconds advantage on the finish line, so the winner is going to come from this group.
Before you get too disappointed, Jonathan, it has been wrong on a number of occasions, so there's still a chance for Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, it really is going to depend what the Peloton does at this point, and I don't see that strong of a reaction. Probably my guess of what's going on without actually calling Whitey on my phone is that, you know, we're waiting for Columbia to start, and Columbia isn't starting, and we know that we can't quite do it on our own, so it's a little bit of a, you know,
poker.
Yeah, exactly.
Big poker game. Yeah, the big poker game is going on right now. All of the teams of the sprinters are wanting to try and get themselves the stage victory this afternoon. They want to pull back this 7-man leading group into the fold before the last 4 or 5 kilometers. But they don't want to be the first to start, and that's probably because we've had 3 very long stages on the flat, these transitional stages after the rest day, taking the riders across the middle part of France, and you tend to get a little bit lethargic on these long hot days as well, don't you? You almost need a bit of a kick start. Maybe there's a cappuccino shop somewhere along the route to get everybody going again.
Well, it's definitely hot today, and it's been an up and down and small roads all day long, and I, you know, for sure the Peloton's very tired, and it's hard to organize a real high-speed chase on these little twisty roads like this.
Well, that's why it's the advantage of the Breakaway, because they've never really been out of sight here and out of mind. But we have to remember, 7 riders up front, 7 teams represented, 7 teams in the pack who won't chase, of course. No reason for the yellow jersey team to drive, no reason for Lance Armstrong's team to drive. So it really only leaves 2 or 3 teams to bring up the charge today. So the dice may have fallen in the right order.
Well, that's what everybody would have expected the day before an average mountain stage tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be a day when many riders are expecting some kind of an ambush, or at least some kind of a campaign to try and start to split up the top end of the overall classification, which I think is why all of a sudden the weight has been thrown onto the shoulders of AG2R, who want to keep that yellow jersey for as long as possible. And it's extremely important, isn't it, Jonathan, for a French team, especially a team like AG2R, which is not one of the top 5 or 10 teams, but for them to keep the yellow jersey for an extra day is really important.
Oh yeah, I mean, for a French team like this, it's everything to have the yellow jersey as long as possible.
Well, just looking there at the faces of the riders from Astana, they all looked really happy, as if they were enjoying their day in the saddle. They're not under any pressure at all. They don't have a rider on their team that can come out and dispute the sprint stages. They're thinking further down the road. They're thinking about what they are getting into, because they've been waiting and dreaming for this last week of the race.
How late can they leave this before they start the reaction, John?
Oh, not much longer, not much longer. I mean, initially, you know, our team strategy at the beginning of the day was to try to have either Danny Pate or Martin Mascant or potentially David Miller up in this group. And, you know, for one reason or another, it's very difficult to actually pick. You know, you follow 50 attacks, and the 51st one is the one that goes. So, you know, since that didn't work out, but I would say that the chase has to start within the next 5K, or there's just really not much chance.
Well, if the break does get away, as I said earlier, they've ridden 37 tours between them in that 7-man breakaway, but only one of them has won a stage, and that's Sylvain Calzati. He did it in 2006 in Saint-Maine-le-Grand. And I think we can show you the pictures from that day. Here he was at the time. AG2R was his team at that occasion. The team that's leading the Tour de France on team and individual at the moment. This was his big win. It was a long breakaway. It was up in the west of France. And boy, this guy celebrated over the last kilometre, I think. It was a very special day as he came home. So that was the winner, Sylvain Calzati. He's never won since in the Tour de France, and nobody else in that breakaway has ever won a stage. And he's 30 years of age now, is Sylvain. He's called an all-rounder. He can do everything, but nothing better than most. Won stage 8 on that occasion at Saint-Maine-le-Grand. Best Tour de France finish was in 2006, the same year, 33rd. The Tour de l'Avenir was a race he won. That's the amateur version of the Tour de France over a couple of weeks. Now, is he going to try and pull it off again? He's the boy in blue today, by the way. There. They're still going, and they're not pulling them back. They've got about 3 kilometres, according to Jonathan Waters, to stay clear to win.
The Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep Summer Clearance is here, and it's the best time to get some of the best deals. Get in now and get the Chrysler Town & Country with a generous cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. The trail-rated Jeep Grand Cherokee also comes with a cash allowance or 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose a hard-working all-new Dodge Ram truck with a cash allowance that's tough to beat. All with our best-in-the-business lifetime powertrain warranty. So hurry, come see the deals we've built for you at the Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep Summer Clearance.
Hamels looks toward home. The pitch. He walks him.
Come on, Cole. Keep pounding the corner. Give him a chase one outside. Who are you?
Oh, Dad.
Oh, no.
Wearing the same cap the pros wear doesn't mean you're one. New era. Make the majors or buy one at the store.
To avoid cholesterol problems, I get checked every year and take garlic every day.
Just one garlic daily helps maintain healthy cholesterol with a clinically proven ingredient that's safe and all natural.
Good cholesterol, great checkups. Garlic.
Last appointment, my dermatologist said lotion with sunscreen all over.
Introducing Gold Bond Ultimate Protection Body Lotion. Moisturizers, vitamins, plus sunscreen.
Soft and safe every day.
New Gold Bond Ultimate Protection.
This stuff really works.
Michelle has had leukemia since she was 2. The Coleman twins were born 24 weeks premature. Max had his first surgery when he was 3 days old. These kids are alive today, and it's a real miracle. When your child needs help, there's a Children's Miracle Network hospital nearby. Go to childrensmiraclenetwork.org to support our hospitals helping local kids.
You take some heat. There's really no sport like it. We're inches apart, wheel to wheel, and one touch, and you're gone. It's a crazy lifestyle. That's how it goes.
A little reminder about Versus Fantasy Cycling Challenge. Select your own team riding in the Tour de France, see how they do, and take part and enjoy some of the good daily prizes. You get prizes from the teams Garmin, Slipstream, Astana, Columbia HTC, and more. You can't play the whole race now because we're halfway through, but you can win prizes every day. As we swing up here, we just had an attack amongst the leaders here, Jonathan. That's Calzati gone after him. And I don't know who it was who went, but I will in a moment. It looks as though it's Nicky Sorensen who's gone.
Yeah, it's Nicky Sorensen. Yeah, it's gone off the road.
Nicky Sorensen has launched an attack. Calzati's getting on. It's come a bit early, so they think it's not going to get caught, and they've launched an attack.
I actually think, Jonathan, this is a little bit too far out from the finish to launch the attack. It was a big surprise attack by Nicky Sorensen, but he knows more than we do just exactly how the rest of the riders in the group are feeling. He attacked ideally from the back end of the group, caught everybody by surprise, including Franco Pellizotti. He also took advantage of getting across the gap to the motorbikes there, and it's the motorbike's responsibility to get out of the way of the attackers.
People tend to fall asleep, don't they, when this at this stage of the race. 2 riders clear. They've got together. Calzati's looking for this, considering he won in 2006. the only man ever to win a stage in this breakaway of the Tour. Nicky last year was the champion of Denmark.
Yeah, Calzati won his stage in 2006 on the Vendée coast, not far from Lorient. This, I think, has caught everybody by surprise. But, Jonathan, when you see the break split up at 20 kilometres to go, all of a sudden it loses the little bit of impetus that they might have needed. I would have suggested they stay together up until around about 10 kilometres to go before launching an attack.
Well, you know, you never know with with a rider like Nicky Sorensen, who can really feel, that he's feeling good and he can get away from the rest of the group. And sometimes you have to take advantage of the hesitation from behind, and the 4 guys behind are thinking, well, I don't want to chase these down. You chase them down, because if I chase them down, then then I'll definitely lose the race. So we're basically looking at, Nicky was trying to take advantage of hesitation from behind.
We're in the Vosges, that's to the bottom where it says, but the artists have stayed with us all the way for the last couple of days, and the farmers have been doing a terrific job. They've not been working very hard in the fields, but they've been using the fields to make the Tour very welcome in this area of France. We don't come here that often, and they've obviously missed us.
Well, you can see the 2 riders have not actually broken the back of the breakaways. The thing is, this is a very experienced breakaway group this afternoon with riders like Pellizotti and Egoy Martinez. They're not going to give up and start shirking the moves at the front end of the main field, because you don't get very many opportunities like this when the breakaway is going to survive. And I think all of those guys in the group, they will slowly claw their way back to these 2 leaders before the finish. I don't think this is the final move.
Yeah, it could not be. It could be. I mean, it's really hard to say. I mean, these 2 guys are actually looking pretty strong. They'll bring them back as long as there's perfect cooperation from behind. But if there's anyone that starts feeling a little bit tired or just sitting on a little bit, then they're not going to come back.
Just under 20 kilometres to go. These 2 got away at 22 kilometres out. They're being chased by 5 riders. I would imagine that Franco Pellizotti is kicking himself, because he's a good finisher. And the main field have gone back to 4:10. I think they've hoisted the white flag back in the main field. The winner will come from these front 7.
Yeah, I think Franco Pellizotti must be kicking himself, because he was in the right move at the right time on the road down into Tarbes, and unfortunately he came unstuck with a little bit of bad tactics in the final bend of the race, and probably because of the fact that he sprinted into a headwind with Peric Federigo on his wheel. But there is nobody seems to be sitting on the back end of that group. 8 seconds is not very much, but they need to get across the gap in the next couple of kilometres. All of a sudden, if they don't, then psychologically you've gone through that period where you're thinking, well, I've given up.
So 19 kilometres from the finish, 2 riders versus 5, and the whole lot versus the peloton. My money's on the 7 in front.
I think my money's on the 7 in front, almost certainly at 4 minutes 18. It is definitely the white flag has been raised in the main field behind. That is not much of a gap, but when you've been at the front of the race for such a long time, it's very difficult to close down that final few hundred meters. The 2 riders in front know it's a do or die effort now. They've laid their cards on the table, they've put the deck out, and now it's up to them to give everything they've got to try and break the back of the chase. You see Pellizotti in the lime green there. He's a very experienced rider, won a stage in the Giro d'Italia this year, finished 3rd overall. He's been in a long escapade today. He will not lay down the arms, and he will actually probably be the rider who is encouraging the other men in that group to keep the working going.
Well, there's 7 teams down there, Johnson. In the Tour of Italy this year, only 7 teams got victories in a 3-week race, which I found quite amazing. So perhaps one of these boys will try to make amends. Saxo Bank haven't done a lot since we started with Cancellara, have they?
No, but I mean, I gotta say, I'm actually kind of favoring these 2 guys to make it to the line. They look strong. They look like they're working together, and the riders behind, although they're staying even with them, eventually a couple seeds of doubt are going to start sticking in the minds of these guys, and then it's going to become problematic to bring them back. And look at that gap.
Yeah, you could be right. It's starting to stretch up. It's 13 seconds, up from 8 seconds. They are all working comfortably at the front end of the main field. But as you say, Jonathan, none of them are pedaling urgently. They're just setting a tempo. It's almost a survival tempo that was just going to take them down to the finish line.
Yeah, they don't want to do any more than the next guy, whereas these 2 guys are committed, clearly, because they've done it. They're committed. There's no choice at this point in time. There's no scenario where they get caught and then are still able to win. At this point, this is do or die.
Well, it's Nicky Sorensen's 7th Tour de France. He's never won a stage. And it is Sylvain Calzati's 5th. He has won a stage for AG2R, but now he's changed teams to Agri-Toubel. We're looking at the two leaders here, 17.5 kilometres to go. Calzati, a one-time winner of the stage, and with him now is Nicky Sorensen. They're hanging on, and we feel ever so slowly, but they are inching ahead of the field here.
No, they certainly are. It's 12, 13 seconds over the chasers. The chasers, I think, really do need to pull these riders back within the next couple of kilometres, or otherwise, all of a sudden, the elastic is going to break, and they will start to build up to 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, and then it is all over for the 5 riders behind.
There's a little message there from the farmers of the Vosges here, the most beautiful area. They've been really busy to welcome the Tour de France into the area. Tomorrow we will see the fields at a great height because we go into the mountains of the Vosges, and they were first introduced to the Tour before the Pyrenees in 1910. I think it was 1906 or 05, I'm not absolutely certain, but they were the first mountains ever in the Tour de France.
Well, the main field now, although it looks as if they're stretched out into a long line, Jonathan, I have to say that is not a chase, is it?
No, you know, basically, I think today, as I said, that if Columbia wasn't going to help us with the chase, that we weren't going to be able to do it either. And all the other teams, the sprinters teams have, well, quite frankly, sort of given up. I mean, you look at, you know, Cervelo could be chasing, Milram could be chasing. You know, they all have, well, I guess Milram wouldn't because they have a ride on the break, but they all have, you know, good sprinters. But Cavendish has been so dominant that it's only Tyler Farrar that's given him a run for his money. And so therefore, if we don't, you know, decide to collaborate with Columbia, you know, the breakaway was going to stay away. And I have to call, you know, Matt White called it this morning that the breakaway was going to stay away. So chapeau to Matt.
Yeah, I think Lance Armstrong thought likewise it could well go to a breakaway today. The road suited it. The hill near the end, it wasn't used by the riders. The peloton are now passing under 20 kilometres to go. The team captain's team are on the front, so nobody's chasing, and it's just going out to 5 minutes. It's definitely over for the peloton today.
But it's starting to look a little bit precarious for AG2R as well, because they've only got 10 minutes to throw away. So they need to stay on the front end of the main field now and keep all of the pressure going. There you can just see the two leaders, and it's horrible being in a situation like that as a bike rider, Jonathan. And you must remember, when you've seen a couple of guys in front of you, you can almost put your hand onto their shoulders, but you can't close down that final 50 meters.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for this group to come back, because eventually someone out of this group is going to get impatient. They're going to attack, and then when they attack, you can see it right now, then everyone else says, well, okay, fine, then my leg's hurt and I'm not going to help you anymore. Whereas, like I said, these two guys, and you can see it on their faces, they're committed.
And also a big gain. Remember that Nicky Sorensen, highest placed in the breakaway at 10 minutes 36 seconds. He's currently pulling 5 minutes back. He could be in the top 20 in the Tour tonight. That'll be an extra bonus, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the most important thing on a day like this is not necessarily the time, because Nicky Sorensen is a rider who will be a helper for Andy Schleck when we go into the big mountain passes. It might be a good psychological blow for Team Saxo Bank, but what's more important, I think, is to try and get the stage victory in the belt, because that also really relieves a team. Once you've got one stage victory in the team's account, you go into the rest of the Tour a lot more relaxed.
15 kilometres to go. They're still ahead, these two riders, Nicky Sorensen and Sylvain Calzati, but they're not pulling away from the chase. They're still persisting as they now are heading for the banner. The clock is running on the banner. The 5 chasers they left a few kilometres ago, 7 to be precise. The gap is 14 seconds. It's not a done deal yet.
Well, the organisation is now starting to go out of this group, and we're starting to see 1 or 2 passengers. In fact, surprisingly enough, one of the passengers is Franco Pellizotti, who finished second on the stage into Tarbes. They've moved out the red car of the race referee, so maybe the race referee thinks it might just come back.
Well, there's the board for the riders. These are the 5 chasers. I think they might still hold hope up at least for another 5 kilometres. Final reminder, log on to versus.com/Ride of Your Life and take part in our Cadillac Ride of Your Life sweepstakes. Great prizes, including a trip to the Tour de France. When you sign on, you'll need the password today, which is Bobkey. And so enjoy that. That's versus.com/Ride of Your Life. Pulling back, when the cameras pull back, Jonathan, it usually means we're seeing a relationship of break to chase. At the moment, it's about 13, 14 seconds. hesitation, and they'll get back up. Or somebody might try to leave this group with 5 to go.
Well, Pelizzotti looks exceptionally strong, and I'd say, you know, that Pelizzotti, if he can get a good run or a good hill, like if he can get on a big hill, like he'll be able to go across. But he's the only rider that I see in this that has the power to go across to them.
He's the crafty rider, I must say, Jonathan. Jonathan, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today, and thank you very much for taking time out to come and sit with us on television here at Versus. I guess you want to go out with your bucket and sponge now to swab the boys down. They're not far away.
No,
but the best of luck for the rest of the tour, because you guys are giving us a good race.
Well, thank you very much, and I think there'll be a lot more to come from us, that's for sure.
Okay, thanks very much, Jonathan.
Thanks, bye-bye.
All right, Jonathan steps out. These are the two leaders trying to step onto the podium tonight as they continue now to ride towards the finish. Sylvain Calzati, Nicky Sorensen, that's what's waiting for them. A little bit of entertainment on the finishing line while we await the Tour de France. We'll take a break.
Autobahn for all event, you can get great lease deals. I love it. I just want to know it's the right move. Me? 13 days in the future. Listen, you get a deal on a car you've always wanted, scheduled maintenance is included, it's all good. What's the future like? You love your new Jetta. And the suit? You like it? Nah, I love it.
Now during the Autobahn for All event, lease a 2009 Jetta S for just $179 a month. Hurry in before your future Volkswagen is history.
If you're looking for the love of your life, you could try your luck on dating sites, or you could graduate to eHarmony. eHarmony isn't a dating site, it's a relationship site. We go beyond the pictures and paragraphs to match you on the deepest dimensions of compatibility, like intellect and values, things proven to be the foundation of successful long-term relationships. If you want love, don't settle for a dating site. Go to eHarmony.com. Get started today and review all your compatible matches for free.
Okay, at The General, it's really easy to buy auto insurance online. Just log on to thegeneral.com for an instant quote. You'll get a great low rate, a low monthly payment, and a down payment as low as $59. Don't get caught driving uninsured or paying for more insurance than you need. So, log on to thegeneral.com right now. Too big?
Just a little. For the best car insurance rates online, go to The General and save some time.
There are moments in life when there are no limits, no boundaries, no walls. That the rules of gravity just don't apply. Because there is no statute of limitations on greatness.
Wow, sweet minivan.
That's minivan A. You.
It's raining! With the great taste of a McDonald's McCafe Mocha, a better day is possible. Freshly ground espresso, real steamed milk, and decadent chocolate. Go ahead, McCafe your day.
The hotter the hot, the colder the cold, the greater the demand, the more you need Duralast. Batteries built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
Watchmen on Blu-ray. Come to get me. Watchmen. Buy it on Blu-ray and DVD. And look for Watchmen, Tales of the Black Freighter. Available now.
Welcome back to the Tour de France. We're heading down towards the finish now, and these two boys have hit them where it hurts most. Nicky Sorensen, Sylvain Calzati. Remember, 7 riders coming together at 50 miles into the race today before they finally got a breakaway going. And now these two have left with 22 kilometers to go, and this is 10 kilometers. Just under that 10-kilometer banner, these two riders are beginning to look very good now. It's not just about the win now, because Nicky Sorensen has got himself 6 minutes lead over the peloton. He started the day 10 minutes and 36 seconds down. He is putting himself in the top 20 in the Tour tonight.
Yeah, he's really made the move here this afternoon, but they haven't necessarily broken the back or broken the spirit of these 5 chasers. They pulled out a 16-second advantage over these 5 riders, but now all of a sudden there is some organization creeping back into this group. Although, having said that, it's gone back to 16 seconds.
Well, let's also remember there will be one big sprint for 8th place from the main field, because for the race for the green jersey, which Mark Cavendish holds, there are big points for 8th place finish, and he'll want to make sure he gets one over on Tor Hushovd and Tyler Ferrer. That's the race behind now, but right now this is the race for the prize on the day, with good time gains on the market as well. They're stretching the elastic more and more now, and I think it is about to snap. Pellizotti in the lime green is being forced to work once more. He was a rider who will kick himself. He had the sprint that could have won this, but it's too late. I think Calzati, who slipped away on the west coast of France in 2006 and won the stage there in Saint-Maine-le-Grand.
Well, Phil, I have to say the other thing that is important to mention is when you talked about the green jersey, the difficult thing about the green jersey is not just about winning individual stages. It's about sprinting for points on every individual stage when you have the possibility. And there are still 18 points available for an 8th place finish on a stage like this, which is why Mark Cavendish still has to come out and sprint, even though he's not sprinting for the victory.
So we might well see the Columbia team get into action on the run-in, even though they're not racing for the first prize today. Cavendish looks like he's going to stick on equaling Barry Hoban's 8 stage wins, which is the British record, 2 of them there. And really, the best shot now will be probably the last day in Paris to enlarge on that.
Well, I wouldn't discount the day down to Besançon. That's a reasonably undulating race with about a 30-kilometer flat run into the city of Besançon. And that is a nice finish for the sprinters with good, long, wide boulevards.
Lovely area too, Besançon, just down from Mulhouse. And then, of course, after that, we leave bound for the Alps. Breakaway then, it got away just on 80 kilometers in, or 50 miles. It was a good hour and a half of real attacking racing. Every break that went more than 200 meters up the road, the Peloton jumped on it. It was a very difficult race to race to understand. We heard Jonathan Borter say it had been a plan to try and get David Miller into one. But you know, you can't go with every attack, and it's usually the one you don't go with that succeeds, as was the case today.
Unfortunately, that is the luck of the draw. But just looking down the long straight there, you can see I have a gut feeling now, Phil, that group of 5 riders behind are actually going to catch back up with the leading 2. This had to be a do-or-die effort by the 2 leaders who made that attack. It was Nicky Sorensen who started it. He was joined by Sylvain Calzati. But they haven't broken the back of the chasers, and they haven't broken the spirit of the chasers. So Franco Pellizotti in the lime green jersey there still is still hoping of a victory.
And I think with just reason here, Nicky Sorensen just looked over his shoulder there. He's seen them coming, and his heart will have hit his boots, because at one stage it looked as though they were gone. But now you can see the face on Nicky Sorensen and Calzati. They are coming back. It is now 11 seconds. The camera often foreshortens the lens when it's head on. They appear a little bit closer than they are, but the clock doesn't lie. 11 seconds is the gap. 6:22, heading up to 6.5 minutes for the break. If Nicky Sorensen gets caught, he needs to hang on there. He could be being carried to a high place overall.
A bit of a psychological blow now for these 2 riders as well, Phil, is because they've pulled out the referee from the gap, and looking over their shoulders, instead of seeing the referee's car behind them, now what they will see is the chasing group of 5. And as you saw Nicky Sorensen look over his shoulders, once he sees that group, he's got the psychological blow to know that they're actually not opening the gap over the 5 chasers.
Well, there's the camera pulling back, and that's the real difference. 6 minutes 20 on the main field. 12 seconds, 11 seconds, doesn't know which way to go at the moment. The clock, they're pegged. Somebody will jump from this group and try and swamp these 2 leaders in a moment.
I think the ideal situation, though, really is to keep working as a solid group of 5. There's no passengers in that group of 5, and I think the reason for that, Phil, is they're all of a fairly similar ability, and they're all extremely experienced professional bike riders. They've all been to the Tour de France before. They all know what it's all about, and they all understand the importance of winning an individual stage in a bike race like this.
Well, Rolf Sorensen had went round the course today, and he knew the course, and now we're seeing Nicky Sorensen here trying to ride away with the race, but they're coming back slowly. 8 seconds now. The rider in red, doing a lot of the work there, is Rémi Porriot from the Cofidis team.
Those are the 2 leaders. The leaders are Nicky Sorensen, who is on the front at the moment. In second position, Sylvain Calzati. in the group of 5 behind Martinez, Pellizotti, Poriol, Laurent Lefebvre and Marcus Foten. They've pulled it back to just 7 seconds according to Race Radio, so it really is not very much. And if you look at the leading 2 there, Phil, although Calzati is out of the saddle, they seem to be losing a little bit of their organisation, and Nicky Sorensen goes again.
Well, he's gone from he came from the slipstream there. He really kicked, and Calzati said, well, that's it for me. I'm going to wait now. So it's one versus the rest. Look at that acceleration of Nicky Sorensen, and yet you saw his face as we did. He looked as though he was absolutely out of it, and he's kicked really hard.
Bang, that's not taking any prisoners at all. He looked a lot stronger than Sylvain Calzati. His legs were going over very nicely indeed. He had a high cadence. He's now hitting 5 kilometers to go.
39th place overall, Nicky. 10 minutes and 36 seconds behind. Takeoff 6 minutes 24, and you're lifting him into the top 20 in the Tour tonight. But he'll trade that for a stage win right now, as Calzati is swept up by the chase at 5 kilometers to go. Calzati rejoins the chase. It's 6 versus 1, and the yellow jersey group is going to have to come home together today at the back.
Well, 6 versus 1, but this is a very strong one. Nicky Sorensen now alone. He doesn't have to hold anything back. He will dig into his suitcase of courage, Phil, to pull out everything possible to try and get himself to the finish line. He knows that these guys behind will keep working as a solid block, but he knows also that Sylvain Calzati is a spent force. He's got nothing left in his legs here this afternoon, and I think that may well be the killer blow going for the Dane.
Well, he's going to sit at the back there and hope he can recover. Calzati, it's gone out to 20 seconds. They never got that when there were 2 of them, and now it's gone for himself. They're going to have to reorganize here over the top of this little rise. All of the rolling hills here of the Vosges, and a little bit of downhill welcome now by the man who's taken the bull by the horns, and he's trying to ride home to his first ever win in a Tour de France.
Well, you notice that before the 5 riders were just holding it. In fact, there's another man, another tragedy at the front, because Rémy Poriol cannot take this chase anymore. He's been left behind by the group. Inside of the 4 kilometer to go banner, it's almost up to 30 seconds. Nicky Sorensen now is starting to build a very interesting lead.
He's a tremendous cyclist. This is 7th Tour de France. He's never not finished under the Eiffel Tower in Paris. He's always made home. His best finish was in 2002 when he finished in 20th place, and that could be where he sits tonight if he keeps gaining time.
Well, he's got a long straight behind him now, and the impetus is certainly going out of this group. Calzati is still managing to hold on. Rémy Poriol has completely and utterly disappeared from that group. Spent force. He must have dug really deep in to try and help to pull back the 2-man chase group. But unfortunately for him, it looks like it's almost over, because Sorensen does not look like a man that's going to weaken to me.
Now there's got to be reaction. Looks like Pellizotti has found he's now sitting around a lot of tired riders here. So the 2 riders first and second in the King of the Mountains title are having to go on the flat together. Pellizotti goes over to left, Martinez to the right. Calzati will just take any wheel if he can grab it. He's the rider in blue. And the rider at the back here is Marcus Foten. He was a rider I thought might have won today as well.
Well, Foten, a former wearer of the best young riders jersey a couple of years ago, but this man made both of the moves that counted this afternoon. He made the first move to come out of the group of 7, and then he made the next move to leave Calzati behind. At 3 kilometers to go, he's probably still looking at a 25 to 30 second advantage.
31 seconds. We'll wait and see what the riders do as they go under the banner. 32 at the moment. Out of the saddle, Franco Pellizotti, as they head for the 3 kilometer to go banner. 6:26 now to the back group. Well, Sorensen is on with a chance of winning this today for sure. There is 3 kilometers to go. These riders looking at one another, because Nicky Sorensen has gone by half a minute under the banner there. And now Marcus Foten, the rider we just mentioned, has attacked.
Lefebvre went actually B-box. Marcus Foten is stuck at the back there. Same coloured shirt, but a different team. The B-box rider was the one that went straight over the top. Sylvain Calzati now, Phil, he's been popped out of the back. These riders now realising at 3 kilometers to go, this is the last possible chance of a stage victory this afternoon. You don't get this chance very often throughout a career. You cannot lose it. You've got to give everything on the run in towards the finish. Lefebvre round the corner there. Pelazzotti has tried a number of times to get out of the front of this group, but he's locked in. They always chase him down. They realize he's probably the strongest man in that group of chasers.
Under 2 kilometers to go now. He's beginning to dream of a stage win here in the Tour de France, as Nicky Sorensen will probably know Lefebvre's taken a dive after the finish, but they're all coming back together down there. Pelazzotti's now trying to make last desperate moments. Time running out for this Italian rider who was 3rd in the Giro d'Italia this year. He's been monitored. Once you're in amongst the barriers, you know you're not far from the finish. Nicky comes round that bend there. He's not far from 1 kilometer to go. He's downtown Vittel now.
1.5 kilometers to go. He went round that corner there, Phil, full tilt, no touching of the brakes at all. He didn't lose any of his impetus at all. He swings around these corners, waiting to hope and see the Flamme Rouge, the red kite in the sky, and still Laurent Lefebvre ready to have a little go. Igor Martinez comes across the gap and is asked to go through and set the pacemaking. That, though, is not the way you're going to catch this lone leader. The only way they could have caught him was to keep working as a solid block. There is the Flamme Rouge. 1,000 meters to go for Nicky Sorensen.
1,000 meters for Nicky Sorensen. He's going to win his first ever stage in the Tour de France at the 7th attempt, and he's gone under that banner now and he's running away. Wise man checking out. 34 seconds is the gap. They can't possibly close that down now. Been a tremendous attack. Saxo Bank, remember, they started the Tour de France with a win by Fabien Cancellara. Now they're delivering unexpectedly with Nicky Sorensen.
Well, he deserves the win here, Phil, because he was the one who laid down the foundations for this solo move. He was the one who made the first attack out of the group of 7. He was joined by Sylvain Calzati. When he felt that Sylvain Calzati was starting to weaken, he hit him hard with a second attack to launch this solo move. Has opened up 30 seconds over the chasers, and he should be able to cruise and enjoy the last 200 or 300 meters.
Through the grimace there, one can see a smile beginning to pop out as he rides up the home straight. Now he's about to celebrate his first victory since June last year when he was champion of Denmark. And before that, you go back 4 years. So it's going to be a great moment. He's done enough. He nods to the crowd. It's time for the victory salute now, I think, as Nicky Sorensen delivered a glove blow here for Denmark and for Team Saxo Bank, even if the Norwegian flag seems to be welcoming him home down the home straight. This is the way you win stages. You never give up thinking about it. The break went 78 kilometers out at 211 kilometers. It's the moment of glory. Nicky Sorensen takes it.
Well, he really enjoyed that victory. He's got a clear finishing straight behind him, Phil, and it's going to be a sprint for second place. Leading the sprint at the moment, lime green jersey on the shoulders of Franco Pelazzotti. Behind him, Igor Martinez. Behind him, Laurent Lefebvre, Sylvain Calzati and Marcus Foten. They are going to sprint for the worst position on a stage of the Tour de France, and Pelazzotti's already had a second place.
And he always seems to get himself in the wrong position, poor old Franco Pelazzotti, because now he's being obliged to lead these riders to the line. Lefebvre could have been expected to make the move as well, because the French are having their best tour for years. And Laurent Lefebvre is going to be challenged by Igor Martinez if he's made it the wrong move, but I think he's too strong here. The B-Box boy will be very upset he allowed that man to escape, but he gets second place today, Laurent Lefebvre. I think Pelazzotti, Marcus Foten, 3rd and 4th.
Well, now as we look at the winner coming across the line one more time here, Phil, Nicky Sorensen, a great victory for him, for Denmark and for Team Saxo Bank. We've got to wait for the big bunch sprint down towards the finish line, because although it's only for 8th place, the man who wears the green jersey, Mark Cavendish, still has to come out and sprint against the likes of Tyler Farah, and of course he has to sprint against the big god of thunder, Thor Hushovd, who is second in that points competition. Coming up for 7th place, just tailed off in the run-in towards the finish, Remy Poriol of Cofidis and France.
Well, it's been a rough ride to the finish over those last few kilometres. Once we got through 20 kilometres, though, and there was no reaction from the sprinters' teams, they decided the day was done. And then the breakaway will have realised it as well. There's Bjarne Riis, I think it is, under the melee there. No, it's not. It's the PR manager of the team, actually. But that is a great result for Nicky Sorensen. That's when the workers of the team sometimes get the payoff. And he's got himself a stage win in the Tour de France today. And I can tell you, the little country of Denmark, who have terrific television coverage of this race, well, they'll be beside themselves right now.
They will be extremely happy with the performance of their man here this afternoon, and he really was on form. You could almost see it by the way he was pedaling on the run in towards the finish. There's no organisation just yet, and it's still being left all of the pacemaking on the front end of the main field to Team AG2R. They've had a long, hard day in the saddle. They've had to defend their yellow jersey this afternoon. There'll be some tired bodies on that French team tonight when they go to the massage table, but still the sprinters do have to come out and play.
Well, AG2R being left to fry until the very last kilometres of this stage today. Astana staying with them too. But watch out for the green jersey. I can't see him down there just now, but he'll have to come up, Mark Cavendish. There are 16 points, I think you said, Paul, for 8th place today. They're very, very big points still, especially as we're going into the mountain soon, when Mark will not actually do so much. Just watching the peloton make that left turn around the bottom there. 3 minutes 18 and counting. Remember, it's going to be a good lead, and he's going to accelerate up the overall as well. If it's still over 6.5 minutes, he might just scrape top 20, top 22. Nicky Sorensen, that wasn't his ambition today, of course. He got in the break that mattered and he won the stage. That was his ambition, and he played out well. But there's still no sign of that green jersey of Mark Cavendish moving through at all. And yet I cannot believe he'll turn up a chance like this for 16 points in the competition. Not when you chase 6 in the small sprint of the day at Sherwen after only 32 kilometres. And there's now a lot of fluid movement down there, isn't there? As the field now try to pick themselves out. Cavendish has moved right up now. You can see him. He's in about 4th. It looks like Team Columbia have got themselves up there as well. So you can bet your life that Thor Hushoff must be taking part, as so too Tyler Ferrer is also up there. It looks as though we've lost our ground motorbikes now because of the finish, so we're going to have to follow this on the helicopter. Into the shadows, a sharp right-hand bend, but a nice wide sweeping corner this one. The peloton has made it safely, all coming home in the same time, and it's not going to be quite as far as it was earlier, as 4.5 minutes passes by. Team Columbia got control of the top. Hope there's no train coming there as we make this other right-hand bend. Now they're starting to line up. Cavendish is the 5th man in line. Hushoff is right on his wheel. Tyler Ferrer is also on his wheel. As we now head up towards the finishing straight, and I think we'll drop down to the level. It's a very, very good lead out, and it looks to me as though they've really got to start moving up on the side of Mark Cavendish if they're ever going to stop this man from winning sprints. 1 kilometre to go now, and one by one the teams start to drop off the front. Reckon that you'll be left with George Hincapie, Renshaw, and probably Tony Martin in there, and then you will find Mark Cavendish in the green jersey. The lead out is almost too easy here because they're taking them right up to the line. Cavendish is holding that 4th wheel and creeping up right behind him. Now I don't see the black and white jersey yet of Thor Hushoff, but it's difficult to tell from the helicopter. Oh, there we are. Now we've got the lead out for Thor Hushoff on the front. And it looks as though Hushoff has a very good position here, and Cavendish is right in there, locked onto the wheel of the rider from Cervelo. As now the move will come up on the outside as well, as this looks like Bernardi is also in the mix here. The Skill Shimano boys with Kenny Van Hummel are trying to break in. Now Cavendish is finding himself in a little bit of traffic here. Now he's switched over to his right and he's seen the space. Hushoff goes head to head, but Cavendish again has seen the finish, and there's 16 points in the bag. He is so fast as he comes up to the line.
Well, no contest at all there. He didn't even have to use his team to lead out the sprint, and there's a problem there. This is Cadel Evans.
And what's happened here?
It's crashed. You can see the handlebars are a little bit touched up, and it must have been on the run-in out towards the finish. I'm trying to see if it's in this corner here. Coming around the corner there, you can see there's a crash there, and that looks like Levi Leipheimer went down as well. That was on the run-in towards the finisher. We're just getting these pictures sent back to us,
now,
Phil, and I don't know if it's before or after the 3 kilometres to go sign.
And that's the crucial thing. If it's inside 3 kilometres to go, it doesn't matter. The clock had stopped because he was with the big bunch that came in. He would get the same time as the bunch just brought in by Mark Cavendish.
Well, he's looking cool there, Phil, and I think he probably realises he's inside of the 3 kilometre to go sign, so he probably not going to panic now, get himself to the finish line. He would be a lot more urgently pedalling to the finish if he'd crashed outside the 3 kilometre point.
Oh yes, there's no concern. Johan van Sommen stayed with him as well. Same will apply to Levi Leipheimer. So the 3-kilometre rule has saved the bacon. It's a fairly new rule, that. It used to be the last kilometre. They've extended it now to 3 kilometres, probably as well today for Cadell.
That's Charlie Wagalis as well, just over on the right-hand side. The reason they extended that rule, Phil, from 1 kilometre to 3 kilometres was the sprints were becoming so much more dangerous that they wanted to make sure that the men trying to win these bike races overall didn't have to get involved in the danger and the craziness of bunch sprints.
So Cadell Evans looking unconcerned about this today, and I think we can pretty much safely just say that that was inside the last 3 kilometres of the ride. Our camera switching back, but we didn't know to exactly where. This looks like Levi's group's coming in behind Cadell Evans again with no panic. Levi looks pretty cool. He's in second place at the moment.
And that's Haimar Zubeldia with him, who's just pacing him up. But immediately you see, as soon as there was an accident, the teams make sure that they've got somebody with the rider who has a crash, just in case they need to pace them to the finish. But I'm fairly convinced that that was inside the final 3 kilometres, so there shouldn't be too much of a change in the overall classification.
Every day you have surprises in the Tour de France, don't you? In fact, Levi would have lost 2 minutes there in real time had that rule not been applied, and that would have been the end of his Tour de France, and we don't want that. So all is well, and we'll take our break now. When we come back, of course, we'll have highlights, the standings, the podiums, and as many interviews as we can get in. See you in a moment.
Great choice. I don't know what that means, but if you were to lose your job for some reason, the Sears Bioprotection Program would cover your purchase until you're working again or your appliance is paid off. You know, should you lose your job.
The Sears Buyer Protection Program. One more way we've got you covered when you use your Sears card. Come in now and save 20% on all Kenmore appliances. Sears, life well spent.
My name is Derek Berge. I'm in Los Angeles, getting honked at.
Quaker State wants to know, who has the world's worst commute?
74 miles, 4 hours. I have a sweaty, wet back, and it's 110 degrees. Speed limit, 65. Me, 5. My engine, not happy.
A tough commute is tough on your engine, so get an oil that goes way beyond industry standards. Quaker State bonds to metal surfaces for 2 times better wear protection. Quaker State, real, durable oil.
We all have confidence. We all have doubt. But when the moment comes, what's gonna win? Here's to confidence.
I've been dreaming of training.
Gillette helps you look, feel, be your best. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Do aches, pains, and arthritis have you in their grip? Break the grip with Aspercream Heat Gel. Extra strength medicine delivers penetrating heat relief without embarrassing odor. Fast pain relief that keeps you going for hours. Aspercream, break the grip of pain.
Travel, stress, eating on the run. Diarrhea stops me in my tracks.
Stop it fast with KO Pectate. Unlike pills, KO speeds to the source, shutting down diarrhea and its discomfort fast.
Really fast.
Stop diarrhea fast with KO Pectate.
It's the symbol of superiority for which they all fight. But every tournament only has one champion. 2009 will take a select few to legendary heights and bring others to their knees. But they continue the fight with some fresh faces entering the fray. Because it's what they know. It's what they do best. Watch the Champions Tour all season long on Golf Channel.
Welcome back. This is the town of Vittel. We're now in the shadow of the mountains, in the shadow of Germany too, for that matter. It's not very far away. And we've just seen Nicky Sorensen of Denmark and Team Saxo Bank literally run away with the stage today with a tremendous show of strength.
No, certainly it was a well-controlled and well-timed move by Nicky Sorensen to get himself the stage victory. And, of course, it was an interesting sprint home for Mark Cavendish. Not led to the finish line on this occasion, filled by the Team Columbia HTC train, but taking advantage of coming out of the slipstream of the big God of Thunder, Thor Hushovd. But that was the victory for Nicky Sorensen. A great win.
It's almost as if somebody told him to keep on waving, as he starts to wave again and celebrate. He's only had 2 wins in the last 4 years. One was the national championship of his country, and now this one here in the Tour de France. I'm not surprised he's delighted. So he should be.
I think it's going to take a while for that victory to sink in, Phil, because I'm sure that as he crossed the line, he really couldn't believe that he'd got himself a win. And the lads, I think, will be able to celebrate that this evening before going into what I think is going to be a very important stage tomorrow, because on the road to Colmois, watch out for the ambush.
Yes, this is the department of the Vosges. Back in 1905, the first mountain ever introduced into the Tour de France was called the Ballon d'Alsace. We're not going up it this year, but it's not far away. Let's have a look then at our Cadillac performance highlights of the day. The rollout here. 169 riders starting off this morning.
Standard start of the day, the yellow jersey and the green jersey starting at the front end of the main field, and as always, once the race referee pulled in the flag, the attacks came thick and fast. Lance Armstrong took time out to have a little chat with Mark Cavendish, asking him, how is it possible for you to go so fast uphill?
He probably says, how is it possible to win 7 Tours de France? This is what happened at Chon, the first sprint of the day. The first time we've seen Cavendish chase green jersey points. There are only 6 on offer, but he got them quite easily, and his nearest rival, Thor Hushovd, gets 4, so a 2-point gain there after only 32 kilometres for Mark Cavendish.
And Phil, for a man who says he wasn't going to go for the green jersey points competition, I think he's changed his tune. But once they got to the first climb of the day, all of a sudden it started to look quite interesting, because Franco Pellizotti, who was 3rd at the start of the day in the King of the Mountains classification, got himself maximum points to start to move himself closer to the lead of Egoy Martinez.
Beating the lead of Martinez there. That was a 55 kilometres to go. The racing continued aplomb here as the riders in the breakaway diced it out together as they built a lead of around about 4 minutes. The peloton, though, weren't letting them go very far, just keeping them in the gun sights. The yellow jerseys team doing a lot of good driving. Then Lance Armstrong's Tour took a turn. Well, not for the worse, really, but a bit of bad luck. He got a flat tyre.
I would say only bad luck, because there was absolutely no panic on board at Team Astana Armada, because they waited for the team captain and they paced him back into the main field with absolutely no problems at all.
No, it was absolutely routine as well. Climb at number 5 of the day came near the end of the race, and these 2 leaders now in the classification, Pellizotti just knocking off a couple of more points than the leader, Egoy Martinez. And the same applied again on the steepest climb of the day, the Côte de Bourmont. This is where Pellizotti wins here, again ahead of Martinez. There's still about an 18-point gap between the 2 in favour of Martinez at the end of the day.
But when the main field came to the same point, the yellow jersey had put his jersey at the front end of the main field just to show that he is the boss at the moment.
And it was round about 22 kilometres to go when this attack was launched by Nicky Sorensen, quickly reacted to by the blue jersey of Sylvain Calzati. The 2 of them never got further ahead than about 15 seconds.
It looked very much as if they were going to get caught, but then once Nicky Sorensen could feel the group coming back to him, he decided Sylvain Calzati was still not strong enough to stay with him, so he flew the coupe.
And he doubled the lead that they'd had for 9 kilometres in about 1. Calzati was picked up by the chasers, but they could do nothing about the attack coming from Nicky Sorensen. There was a counter move here, though. It did come on the road by Laurent Lefebvre, but he couldn't do anything about it. 1 kilometre to go. There was only 1 winner today. Well, there is every day, come to think of it.
Very good point there, but Nicky Sorensen had a very comfortable buffer over the chasers, almost 30 seconds at this point. He maybe looked over his shoulder just to make sure that nobody was coming back with a last-minute return, and of course then he was able to celebrate in style as he came up to the finishing line right here in the spa town of Vittel.
He will move up as well. He was 10.5 minutes down overnight. He's pulled back quite a lot of that, about half of it. But that wasn't the aim of the game today. He's in defence of perhaps Andy Schleck once the hills start. Oh, shall I replace that with the mountain start again tomorrow as we go into the Vosges. So then came the sprint from the rest of the riders here, and it was Laurent Lefebvre sweeping up in second place. Then there was a time gap before the peloton took to the streets, and that demon in green was about to hit the front again.
Cervelo test team trying to set something up for Thor Hushovd in second position there. As soon as Thor Hushovd started the sprint, Mark Cavendish in the light green jersey as leader of the points classification came by and proved it once again why he's the fastest kid on the block, getting himself 18 points for 8th place, just 1 point ahead of Thor Hushovd.
But that wasn't the end of the day's story, because behind, and we're still waiting to find out, was it inside the 3 kilometers to go, which is crucial. We think it was. Leipheimer and Cadel Evans both overshot the left-hander and crashed on the side of the road. Both okay physically, and we judge by the face of Cadel, all was well there. So that's our performance, Cadillac performance highlights. Now let's have a look at the stage results as we saw it. The chase group with Sorensen left finished 48 seconds behind him. Lefebvre, Pelizzotti, Fulton and Igor Martinez in that order. None of those riders gaining much overall. Calzati 6. Poriol was tailed off. He came in at 1:33. Cavendish led the field home at 5:58, and that should be the time that they will give both to Levi Leipheimer and to Cadel Evans. Popovic there, completing the top 15. I am hearing now that Robbie Ventura is round the back somewhere, and he's now going to talk to Tyler Ferrer.
Tyler, hot, hilly day out there today. Were you a little surprised the sprinters teams didn't organize and bring back the breakaway?
No, not really. We knew that was a pretty high chance that was going to happen today. It's just such a hard stage that, you know, it would have taken a lot of energy to control it. And, you know, I don't think there was enough teams that were really interested to put out that kind of effort today.
You got some tough stages ahead of you. Does the focus now become, you know, just getting to Paris and contesting the Champs-Elysees?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a field sprint along the way, I'll definitely be up for it, you know. So, I mean, tomorrow could go either way. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a huge priority to get to Paris. But, you know, I'll still be out on the lookout for stages.
With only pretty much 8th place left in the field, did you take the day off today, or were the legs starting to catch up with you just a little?
Yeah, I mean, I'm too far. After my crash in Barcelona, I'm too far back in the points to be a realistic challenger for the green jersey. So there just wasn't much point in wasting the energy. I might as well save the legs and, you know, save it for a day when it's actually for the win.
Thanks, Tyler. Good luck.
Well, we'll be following Tyler all the way to Paris, and I think his win will come on one of the good days in the Tour de France, just like it did today for Nicky Sorensen of Denmark. Where we'll take our break. We're still working out all of the standings, and of course we have the podiums to come. The Tour de France isn't over for the day yet. See you in a moment.
20% more cash for your broken, unwanted, or mismatched gold jewelry. Cash for Gold, the largest volume consumer gold buyer in the USA, is on an extended buying spree. Prices are still at all-time highs, and we still can't keep up with demand. So we've raised our goal $100 million and extended our deadline. Now we're out to buy $200 million in gold by the end of summer, September 30th. Send us any unwanted, broken, or mismatched gold jewelry right now. Call for a free prepaid envelope. Fill it with the items you want to sell, send it to our secure processing center, and get ready to count your cash. And to meet our new $200 million goal, we've increased our cash payout by 20%. Cash for Gold owns its own refinery. There's no middleman, just more cash for you. And now we're paying even 20% more cash. Call before the gold rush ends September 30th.
Call 1-800-953-7993 or visit cash4gold.com.
Are your credit cards maxed out? Just making minimum payments or even behind on your bills? Freedom Debt Relief's mission is to help you get rid of your credit card debt.
I had over $25,000 in credit card debt. Then I called Freedom Debt Relief and got my debt cut in half. I was debt-free in less than 24 months.
This is a unique program that will get you relief and on your way to being debt-free. Make the most important call of your life today.
Call Freedom Debt Relief now at 1-800-375-9401. That's 1-800-375-9401.
Hey, hon.
Hey, Dad, look what I drew today.
Wow. Hey, wait a minute. Why doesn't Daddy have a blizzard?
The Girl Scout cookie blizzard. You're a boy.
Honey, it's not a big deal.
It's easy for you to say. You already have a blizzard. There.
You know what? You're being a child.
No, don't give me my blizzard.
Everybody wants one. The new Girl Scouts Tag-Along Blizzard. Creamy DQ soft serve and real pieces of peanut butter cookies.
Just delivers sports from soup.
Sports soup for everyone!
To nuts. First at 11. No one in the sports world can hide from Sports Soup's Matt Eisman. Then, pride and passion mix with a dose of insanity when the fans take over on Fanarchy.
I'm gonna eat this cat!
Sports Soup and Fanarchy. Tuesday night, only on Versus.
And welcome back. Just as he steps onto the podium, the stage winner, stage 12 today, Nicky Sorensen, Saxo Bank. He's never been here before, and he's going to relish the moment, I think.
No, certainly a great move by him to get into the breakaway on a day that a lot of people felt the breakaway would survive because, Phil, of the looming mountains tomorrow. A very difficult stage ahead of us, and that's why this man was ordered by the team management to make sure that he was present in the breakaway that for once succeeded.
Well, it must be a great moment for any stage winning the Tour de France to look out across the crowd, but a particularly hard-earned day there for Nicky Sorensen. 2 times the champion of his country, and now 1 time the winner of a stage in the Tour de France. Good stage to win from Tonnerre to Vittel. Very popular area. Let's have a look at the Hampton Hotels overall standings, and good news, Paul. 4th place for Levi Leipheimer. That means that no time has been lost here, so it was inside the last 3 kilometres, and which means also no change overall again today, but I suspect this might not be the same tomorrow. Tony Martin of Colombia holds on to 7th and the white jersey. Van der Velde sits in 8th. Schleck is in 9th. These guys will move soon. Frank Schleck, that's the brother of Andy, he's 13th. Kreuziger 14th. Vladimir Efekim, who crashed yesterday, got a nasty scarred left side of his face, but still riding well. He sits in 15th place. Back out to the podium, and another yellow jersey for Ronaldo Nocentini. What do you reckon tomorrow?
Well, I think they had to work for it today. The team was seriously put under pressure, and no presence at all from the teams of the sprinters. They know tomorrow is going to be a very important day, and if the breaks do start to come, I'm not sure that Team AG2R have got lots left in the ammunition bag.
Well, it was a routine day, but it was a hard day for the team. They had to keep the pacemaking today, and remember, they are also leading the team race with Astana breathing right down their necks by 3 seconds.
3 seconds is not very much at all in the team race, and I think that race is very likely to change tomorrow, because whatever happens, there will be a showdown on the final 2 mountains of the day. 2 first category climbs out on the course. Not really high mountains, Phil, but peaking out at around about 1,200 meters.
A quick pan around Vittel as we now wait for the green jersey to come out here. This is developing into being an intriguing battle. Tyler Farrar says he's not really in the race there, so he didn't sprint so well at the finish. It's still a good battle, though, between Mark Cavendish and Thor Hushovd, as Mark Cavendish comes on stage to pull on the green jersey, feeling very satisfied with his day's work. He's increased his lead.
Well, he's increased his lead because at an intermediate sprint point out on the open road, he crossed the line there ahead of Thor Hushovd, getting himself 2 points lead there. And at the finish, he finished 1 position ahead of Thor Hushovd, getting another further point ahead of the Norwegian. And that's what this competition is all about, Phil. You've just got to eat away at the points on every different day.
Yeah, so he'll be 14 points in the lead tonight over Thor Hushovd. That's quite a nice little bagful. The stages are going away from the sprinters for a few days now. There are 2 more stages when they should take front stage, including the last stage. Well, as he's come off the podium, Frankie Andreo's caught Mark Cavendish trying to escape, so let's hear what Mark has to say.
Mark, you remain in green, so mission accomplished for today. Out there, you were sprinting for some of those bonus sprints, but the strategy of today, was it to let a break go away to take away any of the points that Thor could have gotten?
I wasn't really to let the points go, you know. Maybe it is, you know. I think this is the first day that we change our race plan, and the green jersey seems like, you know, we're getting closer to Paris with it now, so it's getting more and more into our minds. But, you know, the break was really, we weren't going to chase. Yesterday we did a lot of chasing with a couple of guys, and, you know, at the end of the day, there's still 9 more days from the Tour left. And those guys have got to support me through the Alps and support me to Paris, and I don't want to, you know, they need a break every now and again, and so today was it, you know.
Thor mentioned that he's kind of given up on the competition for the green jersey, but for you, are you more worried about getting through the mountains or winning on the Champs-Élysées?
Winning on the Champs-Élysées, it's not going to be a problem to get through the mountains. So.
All right, we'll continue. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Confident lad, isn't he, for 24 years of age, and he is now, it's green for go for Mark Cavendish, and he's going to try and master that. Now, tomorrow is very important, Paul. We're back into the hills. You know this area very well. It's not an easy ride tomorrow.
It's not exactly what I would call the high mountains, but it is a very difficult route, as you mentioned, Phil. The riders moving away from Vittel, where we finished this afternoon, and if you have a quick look at the race route here, reasonably flat to start, but once you get out into the middle of the Vosges, which are very difficult mountains, there's a couple of first category climbs. Now, just have a look at that. I would expect to see a split coming on the first big category climb there, the Platzverzarsel, and that is where I may see the first challenge coming to Rinaldo Nocentini.
All right, well, it's stage 13. Unlucky for some, perhaps, tomorrow. 124 miles as well, so it's only 11 kilometres shorter than yesterday. Live coverage coming to you at our usual time tomorrow of 8:30 Eastern, and please enjoy it. It's Friday the 13th too, dare I say that, as the riders now will start to go to town here in Vittel. They won't be going to the town to celebrate, except of course for Nicky Sorensen. They'll be going for the massage, eating plenty of food tonight, and tomorrow they'll come out fighting. And I think the 8-second spread between Armstrong and Nocentini will look very frail at some stage tomorrow. And Lance is smiling today. He might be in attacking mood tomorrow. Keep up to date with us on Versus.com, of course, and enjoy the Tour de France. People are saying how enjoyable it is this year. Well, I think you're right. It is enjoyable. Well, tomorrow will be extra special. We'll see you all together tomorrow in Colmar. For the team here, goodbye.